We are live in the building. In the building. Shout out to everybody in here. Starting a little later today. Y'all know how it go. Y'all know how it go. But shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. Rather you catch and see if people just came in. Okay, good. We are actually live. I was concerned whether or not we was actually on the air. Had to wait till I saw somebody come in. But yeah, we in here. We in the building. Make sure you hit the like button whether you're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. And either way it go, let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's up, good people? Welcome to the show. And actually, give me 30 seconds. No, 15 seconds. Damn it. Almost made it back. Almost made it back in the allotted time. In the allotted time that I gave myself. But shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. Glad to be back at it. Glad to be back at it. Shout out to everybody in the building. Where we at? As I always say, shout out to move that up a little bit. There we go. That's better. Shout out to the early bird squads, those making it in bright and early before we even get things started. Appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to Logan JJ in the building. Shout out to Logan JJ in the building. Says, first salute. Don't forget to pay your rent/mortgage, people. Damn. you just came in with that one, huh? Just people, it's the second of the month. The rent's due, mother. I don't even know where that came from no more. But yeah, the rent's due. You paying rent. You paying the mortgage. It's due. It's due. It's that time of the month. It's due. Jay Monta reacts in the building, says, you should have heard what she said after they hung up on Fresh and Fit. The woman on that show sounded crazy. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. They definitely Rage Quit. They did a Rage Quit, but I didn't go and listen to their program and hear their post, analysis. But I wouldn't be shocked if she didn't just completely lose her mind. I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. Like they lost it, you know. They have a nationally syndicated radio show. Like I consider what I do right now, I consider this radio. Like somebody recently asked me, so what do you do? So I basically said, yeah, I host a radio show. Because, sometimes when you just say, well, I do YouTube. Sometimes they don't get it, but they understand the concept of radio. They might understand the concept of video podcast. When people think radio, they're thinking of, broadcast radio with call letters. This is ZWTST, the beat. And not, they looking at it like that. And that's to me, that's a dinosaur, what they do. But the fact of the matter is they have those sponsors, they have advertisers, they have all those people they got to answer to, so they can't say the type of things that we say. And I don't even think they believe the type of things that we believe. But the fact of the matter is, even if they did say it, because the guy on the show, the guy who actually facilitated the Rage Quit, that was the guy who he was agreeing with Myron on some things. He was agreeing with Myron on some things. And I think he realized that if he didn't do that, he was going to have to answer to some sponsors. He was going to have to answer to the other women on the show. He probably was going to have to go home and answer to his wife. So he had to facilitate that Rage Quit, but they did Rage Quit. All right. Shout out to Snuggles in the building saying, start the morning off right with the not so beautiful rendition. Damn, did I delete your little thing? Why can't I find it? Uh-oh. Okay, Snuggles, I didn't delete it on purpose, but I seriously can't find it. Oh, there it go.
Hi, I'm Snuggle, Snuggly Softness. That's really less
I thought I thought I lost it. I thought Snuggles' little greeting was no longer with us anymore. That's how you rip the stuffing out the bear, huh? All right. But anyway, I'm trying to get through the early bird shout outs, but shout out to Uneducated Lanes. Damn it, Snuggles. That is a perfectly acceptable term. Shout out to E. Capone in the building. I think he's dropping the short for his channel, perhaps. I can't tell. I don't know what that is. I do know E. Capone is doing some content nowadays. Make sure y'all go check the brother out. Make sure you go check the brother out. I'm not sure what he's dropping right there. I can't click on it because I only can see the StreamYard. But if that's to his channel, or if it's not to his channel, go subscribe to the brother. Give him the HBO special. Help a brother out. Shout out to RM. Shout out to who else we got in here? Shout out to Nolan Baptiste. Shout out to you. Shout out to Sweet Melody. Sweet Melody Media. The change up. I don't think I've seen you in here in a minute. See, I didn't even realize that you had to change up on the name. Shout out to Sweet Melody Media. Shout out to, I think that pretty much it. Theo in the building. Says Snuckus. Wow, that was weird. I don't know what you mean by that. Theo in the building says, I'm ready for ultra snarky this morning. He said, I'm ready for ultra snarky this morning. Shout out to Theo Waff. Shout out to Theo Waff. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you dropping 20 on it to jump things off properly. Correction. Shout out to you for dropping 25 on it to jump things off properly. Shout out to you dropping 25 on it. And as most of you know, and I'm sure RM Johnny on the spot will, Jane on the spot will drop the link to Black Manosphere events, blackmanosphere.events. I think I finally got the website right. So you can book your tickets, get your tickets to the Mumia Obsidian Ali experience. I will be there. I will be speaking at the Mumia Obsidian Ali experience, which is an extension to, the Black Manosphere meetup. This is a 2.0, so to speak, of that. Theo will be there speaking. He will be teaching. He already got like 30 brothers on course to be making six figures, if I understand it right. He's going to be doing the same thing, going to be teaching more brothers. So go in there, get your tickets for that so you can get down with that. Ike is going to be here. Big Ike, who you saw on the big screen on one of my previous shows, is going to be there. Shannon Rawls, Dennis Sperlin, attorney Dennis Sperlin will be there. And obvious, of course, Mumia Obsidian Ali will be there. And there's there. You see it on the screen. See where you can go click, see where you can go check it out. The Mumia Obsidian Ali experience. Go and check that out. Get your tickets. Be a part of that. If nothing, I mean, it's stuff like that is cool to just be there. But the big but, if you got some wiggle room where you could, you can get down in Theo's class, man, that's life-changing. Theo's doing life-changing work. So, man, you want to be a part of that. It says, Bernard Riley, is it in Philly? I'm only about an hour and a half away. I may buy tickets. How do I get them? Go and check out. Oh, just click on the link. How about that? Just go click on the link. Just click on the link and you'll be shot. The actual Manosphere events, I mean the actual main part of it is just for men, like during the business hours, as we'll call it. That's really just for men. But there is a social something. I don't really know. I haven't really looked into that, but there's a social after, afterglow, so to speak. I don't know what to call it. Forgive me for being a bad salesman, but that part is free. So you may find that you could just pull up. That's what you may find out. That's when you go check out the links for the tickets or everything. But Chris, what did I just see? Christian Hutchinson says short show today. Why do you mean short show? No. This won't be a short one. Theo Waff in the building. He says whoa. God damn. There it is right there. You don't need a sales pitch from me. You're reading it. One student is earning over $300K now. Another is interviewing at NASA. There it is. Good. I can rest. I don't have to be a bad salesman anymore. You can just read Theo's super chat. There it is right there. You want to know why you should go, why you should check it out, why you should be a part of it. There it is right there. Okay, but now let's get on with the show. I got a number of things going on. I dropped a good pre-recorded yesterday where I was breaking down and analyzing a few things. If you haven't checked that one out, check that one out. I was breaking down and analyzing the dynamics of, because there was a picture that came out. I shouldn't say came out, like it dropped like an album. But no, Kevin Sam just posted a picture of him and Cam Newton. It looked like they were at Cam Newton's either bar or Cam Newton's studio set. So I suspect there may be some sit-down discussion for them because as a lot of Cam Newton did get canceled. He did get canceled for making some misogynistic comments that I didn't think was misogynistic at all. He really said a lot of things that Kevin Samuels have been saying. It's an interesting dynamic there because Future recently had to distance himself from Kevin Samuels, the serial impregnating dude who be calling women, say all kind of, the rapper who historically has been the guy, the guy who belittles and degrades women. That guy has to distance himself from people who essentially has more traditional, more conservative talking points or principles. That is an interesting dynamic. That guy. That guy, the rapper, the person who historically has been known for that, he's okay now. But if you critique or criticize the behaviors, you're bad. You're a misogynist. If you be the ringleader at that party of them doing that behavior that yields bad outcomes, you're okay. You're part of the team. You're team feminist. They ain't got no problem with you. They only got a problem with people who are trying to bring order. If you contribute to the chaos, you're okay. Whereas there was a time when that guy, the rapper who, singing early 90s rap, they were viewed as the ringleaders of the chaos. No, they're okay. Those who criticize the chaotic outcomes, those are the misogynists now. 90s rap, those were the misogynists. The men who tried to speak out, bring order to the chaos, those were the good guys. See how it has flipped around? Yeah, I did a pre-recorded video on that, breaking that down using the dynamic of Kevin Samuels and Cam Newton. you know, did a good breakdown of that. Did a good breakdown of that. He said, "Boss level Pookie." Shout out to the Mac the Trucker in the building. But all right, yeah, we about to go ahead. We about to go ahead and get into. About to go ahead and get into the main topic here. Go ahead and get into the main topic. Where are we? Let me find it. There it is. Click there. Forgive the dead air. I hate dead air, but it's better to just be quiet while I'm clicking on stuff, because that way I can get it done quicker. All right, we about to get into. We about to dig into this. This was a good one. This was a doozy. And I haven't watched Fresh and Fit in like a month, maybe more, maybe longer. I haven't watched them in a while. I saw other people reacting to this, and I was like, okay, they got caught up in another little round of controversy. I wouldn't even call this controversy. Nobody's trying to cancel them over it. These people they got into it with is all the way in Australia. So this isn't that kind of controversy where they're, in danger of getting canceled. But I haven't listened to them in I'd say a month, possibly 2. It's been a while. So it was nice to check back in. Yeah, they still up to the same. Ain't nothing changed over there. So shout out to them. And let's get into it. Like I said earlier in the show, if you weren't here, they're on some nationally syndicated public radio show in Australia. Okay, this isn't a podcast. This isn't like what we do on YouTube, where other than saying some crazy stuff that YouTube will flag a channel for or take down a channel for, we can kind of be our own man over here. We're not beholden to anybody. We're beholden to our people that support us, our people that watch us, the people that super chat, Cash App, PayPal, Patreon, the channel members. We work for you. We work directly for you, and y'all okay with us saying crazy stuff, but as long as it ain't too crazy. But this is a whole different dynamic when you're talking about actual radio. You're talking about actual radio, well, old school radio. It is a different dynamic. They can't put that stuff out there. They live off those advertisements. That's how they pay the bills. So them getting Fresh and Fit on there, that was going to be trouble. But all right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get it. Can't hear.
Let's go back to what you said, because I want to dissect this a little more. Do you believe that any woman in a relationship should not have Instagram, or are you saying that just women who are in a relationship and are posing in their bikinis or, doing any kind of sultry sort of stuff, they're the ones that shouldn't have Instagram?
Well, if you're in a serious committed relationship with a guy and you have, sexy photos of yourself on the internet, Instagram is just one medium that you can do it. Yeah, it is cheating.
Cheating, like, what about the guy? Is he, if he's in a relationship, is he allowed to have Instagram?
Notice she didn't address whether or not she thought it was cheating. She just said, what about the guy? It's going to be a lot of that in this discussion. That was a good time for her to give her position on whether or not she thought it was cheating or a form of cheating. She could have did that. But it just went right to, well, what about the guy?
From we not in our undies.
Sorry, Carl. I don't think I was
down.
asking you. I was asking these guys.
Let me ask.
I didn't catch that when I first watched this. She just checked the guy. He tried to interject on, I'm assuming it's his show. It's called the Jackie and something show. Kyle and Jackie. His name is Kyle. Her name is Jackie. So Kyle, yeah. His name is first in the show, but she could check him and say, I didn't ask you, I asked those guys. But anyway, just observing small things, but let's go.
Let me ask you a question. Are men and women equal?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, we're not at all. We're not.
Okay.
Men and women are different.
So why? Yes, we're different. Of course, we're different. But were you talking about pay parity? What are you talking about when it comes to being different?
Well, the definition of equality is being the same in quantity, size, degree, or value, and nothing between us is equal. We're very different. What I mean by
You
that,
don't think we are of equal value?
well, here's the thing. From a human's rights perspective and the value of your life, yes, we're equal. No one is better than anyone in that regard. But when it comes to biology and intersexual dynamics, we're 100% different. And the reason why
that is true scientifically.
The overall overwhelming problem, and I don't disagree with nothing that Myron said right there, but the overwhelming problem when you're talking about equal, like he did right by pointing out under the law, yes, human rights, yes, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, yes, okay. The problem with the equal thing is that no two people are equal, all right. No two people are equal in terms of what they produce, in terms of their outcomes, their output. No two people are equal. I'm not equal to LeBron James. I'm not. All right. You could take sex and gender off the table. Just compare me to another man. We're not equal. I own my house. I'm self-employed. I work for myself. My next door neighbor don't own. Is a white dude. He rents his house from a black dude. He rents his house and he works for somebody else. And I deduce, conclude, assume, can't be 100% sure. I think I'm pretty sure he makes less money than me. Just judging by, he borrowed $40 and took a really long time to pay it back. We're not equal in terms of output. Okay. We're not equal in terms of output. That's why I hate the question when it's on, are we equal? No two people are equal. Okay. No two people are equal. But talking about human rights, that's one thing, okay? Human rights under the law, under the law, yes.
He's correct. We are different, right?
But what I don't understand is how does that apply to the question that I asked when I said
so let me
guys? Okay.
So the reason why is because we have differing sexual strategies. Men want quantity, women want quality. So our sexual strategies are literally opposing each other. So men want to be able to get with as many girls as possible, right? Unlimited sexuality. Shout out to our guy, Rollo Tomas. We talk about this in detail. Versus women, I say women want typically unlimited security from the best man that they can get versus men want to get the most women they can get. So it's been that way since the beginning of time. Powerful and strong men have had hordes of women, and then women align themselves with the strongest men. So we don't play by the same set of rules, and our sexual strategies influences how we view the world, how we view the opposite gender, how we try to procreate with each other. We're very different. So now
I love how Myron, and this is the strength of Myron Gaines. This is why it's hard for him to lose debates when he's talking to people. He knows how to give complex sounding cookie cutter answers. And that's good. That's a skill. He knows how to make a point really, really well in a, smack it on a lunchbox and sell it type of way. He knows how to put it in a slogan. That's a skill. He's real good at that. Like he'd kill it on, I don't know if they're on Twitter, but he'd kill it on Twitter. He knows how to put it in 124 characters. So he's for damn sure good at that. One slight disagreement. I don't think the two strategies are in opposition to each other. If a woman's strategy is to get the best mate that she possibly can, to get as much, resources or whatever it is she's looking to get from, she's looking to get as much of that as she possibly can from the highest of quality guy she could possibly get that from. She more or less could still get that, and that doesn't fly in the face of the man's strategy. If the man's strategy is quantity and her strategy is quality, and that's a pretty raw, bare bones type of thing. We talk about that in this space all the time, and I've made this point. Breaking it down to the molecule at the scientific level. Okay, take any mammal, take any male of any mammal, take humans out of the equation. The male wants to reproduce with as many females as possible. The female wants to reproduce with the best possible male because she gets pregnant and it's a long laboring thing. And, so she wants the best possible seed in her. The man wants his seed in the most possible, the highest amount of women possible, the highest amount of females possible. I'm not even talking about humans. I'm talking about other animals. Okay. So yes, we are wired differently. So they are absolutely right in what they're telling them, and they're not getting it over there in Australia, that you can't apply everything the exact same way to essentially, I mean, I loosely say different species, but male and female, yes, we are wired different. You can't compare everything the same, especially just the mere fact that men do have that different mating strategy means that women have options on the table that most men don't have. Women have options on the table that most men don't have. Therefore, you can't apply it the same way. This is going to be a reoccurring theme. This is going to be a reoccurring theme on this on this show, because they're just not going to be able to swallow that. This is going to be a classic case of them wanting things to be equal across the board, but not understanding when it's equal across the board, how much of an advantage that's going to put the woman in, and how much of a disadvantage that's going to put the man in, who had to build himself up and earn the value that he has. Okay.
What men can do, women can't necessarily do sometimes. So we're not the same.
So,
And it's just unfortunately a double standard that does not benefit women for once.
sorry. So just going back to that question that I asked, can a man be on Instagram
Yes.
in a relationship,
Yes.
but not a
It's the same.
woman?
It's not the same.
Why?
Well, does it depend on the content that
Like,
they're putting
definitely,
out? Like,
it would
if I'm
have to.
shirtless on Instagram, like showing me big fat man boobs and gyrating around sexy dance, that would be cheap. What if I was just on there talking about, fitness apps and stuff? That's a whole different vibe. So it's content related, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that I don't think people understand this, that a man even a man that's extremely good looking is not going to get nearly the amount of options that a woman that's mediocre. And
Are
we go-
that
you
is
kidding?
true.
No,
That is true.
that is
Yes.
so not true.
But
Do you
think of
know
it.
how many hot guys get DM'd on Instagram?
Oh, we're not talking
with
about
women?
DMs. We're talking about real life
No,
benefits, like
no, you're
being
not. You're
served
talking about
first at the shop and stuff
no.
like that.
I'm talking about Instagram. You're saying a man can go on Instagram in a relationship and it not be
pull up that
considered
chart for our
cheating.
chat. So, okay, I'm going to get one of my guys to show you guys something. But yes, a lot of women are unaware of this. But men, unless they're in the top 2% of looks and aesthetics and everything else like that, they get virtually no play in online dating sites, Instagram. Men don't get as much sexual attention as women think. The issue is that women see the world through their view. They think, I get a lot of attention, so attractive guys must be getting a lot of attention too. And that couldn't be further from the truth.
Now, I don't think that is 2%, but it's been study after study after study that shows more or less that what he's saying is true, that guys don't get as much attention on a dating app. They're actually going to pull up some data to show it. The top tier of guys on a dating app, he gets the same amount of attention, messages, replies, and matches as a woman who's rated in the average realm. And I'm not just talking about some Kevin Samuels rating. I'm talking about an analytical rating based off how well she does on the app in terms of how many matches she get, how many people replies, how many people reply back, and all of that. They ran the numbers, they put it in the analytics. So the analytics are out on that. Okay, so bear this in mind. If you accept the general premise that the Miss Average at Best chick that was on Kevin Samuels, if you get it in your head that that's an average woman, okay, that's what an average woman looks like. All right, you get that in your head that's what an average woman looks like. Let it sink in that woman is getting just as much attention, messages, replies, responses, matches, and the whole works on dating apps. She's getting an equal amount to the hottest, most highest status guy on the app. Like, let that sink in. Let that sink in. And I say this as somebody who, I did okay when I was on dating apps. That's why I don't buy that 2% thing. I don't think I'm some top 2%er. I did all right. So it's more fluctuations, but there's data that shows that men find over 65% of the women on dating apps attractive. Women find more like there go that 80-20 rule popping back up, like close to like on 20% of guys, around 25% of guys say be either average or good looking. Really, I think it's only like 5% that they find actually attractive. So men find at least 65% of the women on the app attractive. Women only find about 5% of the guys on the app attractive. You got to let that sink in. So if you take all that and extrapolate it to Instagram, yeah, it's a small percentage of guys that are actually getting attention on Instagram like that. But it's a large percentage of women who are getting attention on Instagram like that. So if your girl has an Instagram that's open to the public and she's still posting those pictures, she's courting that attention. Now, to the question that's put on the table, and they're going to keep circling back to this question: should your woman be able to have an Instagram? A lot of people have said that. I think that I'm pretty sure Myron draws a hard line on that. I'm pretty sure Kevin Samuels draws a hard line on that. It's a lot of people, with big channels in this space that have said, hell no, we won't go. You got to cancel your social media. I don't go that far, but it can't be public. It needs to be private, family and friends. Yeah. That's where I'm at with that. That's where I'm at with that. If you my woman, I'm claiming you, we putting the title on it, and we're an item, and it's for real. Yeah. It has to be public. I mean, it has to be private. It has to be private. I'm not gonna shut you off from the I don't go that extreme to where I'm just gonna shut you off from the world, but it gotta be private. It ain't and it can't be a slightly thirst trappy looking picture up there. That's my position. That's my position. That's where I'm at with it. Shout out to y'all in the chat. I haven't been really paying too much. I haven't been paying too much to what y'all going on. Obsidian in the building says studies have consistently borne this out. Yeah, which makes it embarrassing that for them over in Australia that they, this information age, and they're talking as if they don't know or don't understand. Like that's just embarrassing at that point. Christian Hutchinson in the building says, my wife has social media, but it's mainly just doing kid stuff, traveling, plus I can access it at any time. There you go. There you go. There you go. Marquise 912 in the building says, you are in the top percentage of my brother. You're undervaluing yourself. Just like they said, I ain't no top. I ain't a top 2%er income. And I would willing to say that no, I ain't going there. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'll just say that. When I was really out there and single, had my collar popped and was really trying. I had some successes. I had a lot of struggles. I've talked to y'all about a lot of the struggles. I've talked to y'all about a lot of the flaky, like you set up a date with a chick. Chances are, it's a good chance she might cancel. It's a good chance she ain't gonna show up. It gets you to the point to where you ain't even trying to set up like it's the game is, it's all jumbled and all over the place. You got to learn. You got to know how to navigate it. It just is what it is. You got to know how to navigate it. It's yeah, and cut it out. He said high value Bernard Riley, new channel soon. No. Cut it out. Shout out to E Black. Shout out to E Black. But no, it's a tough game out there. It's a tough game out there. I mean, listen, when I was out there, like I was in pretty good shape, 6'1", tall, dark, and I ain't gonna say handsome, but you still got to roll up your sleeves and put in some work. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be getting flaked on a lot. Chicks are going to be wasting a lot of your time and a lot of your money. So I mean, and that speaks to it. Like, I don't think I'm some top 2%, top 5% a guy out there on the market. I don't think that at all. But it's I don't buy that. I don't buy that for 1 minute. But I do know that it's a struggle. It's a struggle out there. I've said it before. Like men, this is why the whole stay in your lane thing for men is nonsense, because men don't only stay in their lane, they will stay 2 levels below it when they're looking for casual sex. And since Obsidian is in the chat, he will drop the links to prove it. Since Obsidian is in the chat, he will drop the links to prove it. So yeah. So that's how it is for men. We got to stay in our lane and 2 levels below it a lot of times when we're out there looking for something casual. But it's a whole different ball game. When we're looking for something long term. But but it's a dirty game out there. It's a dirty game out there. GA Boy says we all should feel like you are top percent. I am, and I have done better with women than most rich men. Yeah, well, okay, having money just don't make you automatically gonna do good with women. That's a whole nother thing. If you know what you're doing and you got money, then yeah, you can get a world. But if you got money and you're stupid, or you just don't know how to navigate, don't understand women, you could end up like hell, you can end up like Will Smith and Johnny Depp. We see it playing out in real time. We've seen it play out in real time. What happens? You're successful, you got money, you got status, you're good looking, you're handsome, you got the whole works. You don't know what you're doing, that's how it could end up looking. You get a woman, Amber Turd, dropping loads in your bed. That's what you end up getting. That's what you end up getting. But all right. Let's get back into it. Where we at?
Men do not get nearly the same amount of sexual attention.
But they're still getting it. So I don't understand.
Not as much.
See, he said men don't get nowhere near the same amount of sexual attention as men. Then she said, but they're still getting it. She's in her mind, she's only seeing it from the top guys. She's only seeing she's projecting because she knows the type of attention that she gets, and she knows the type of attention that she gives the top guys, and that's all they see. The nuance is in the details, because when you get out there, analytics and stats and all of that can show you cookie cutter stuff, but it's wiggle room to it when you actually get out there on the ground. You can look at the facts and data and stats and understand what you're up against, but it's room to work in there. A chick may say, okay, you got to be 6 feet tall and 6 figures, but you walk up to her and you say some shit to her, and she might be ready to go. So that's the nuance and details in it. That's the devil in the details, where nobody is just dead in the water. Well, there's some people that are just dead in the water. But when I talk about, the stats and what women want and what the dating apps is showing and all of that, I am in no way saying that if you don't meet a certain criteria that you're absolutely dead in the water, it's over for you. Take a knee, get out the game. That ain't my position. But we can clearly just hear from what this woman is saying, that she got tunnel vision. She only sees this from the perspective of projecting her outcomes and looking at the outcomes of the men that women see as the most valuable, whether he's valuable off of his looks, his money, his status, his game, or whatever.
There's a lot of sexy girls
just
online.
Because a girl might get, let's say 50 DMs that have guys wanting to date her, when the guy gets 20 DMs, yes, there might be a little difference there, but they're still getting hit on by
let's
females.
get back to the old night.
Nope. Then they're going to prove later in the show that, like I said, the average woman does equal to the top of men. So her analogy doesn't work. It's more like the woman is getting 50 DMs to the typical guys, no DMs. If we're talking about Instagram, no, that's pretty much how it goes.
Nightclub rules. Let's go back to the nightclub. If you're at the nightclub, and the boys have talked about this on the Fresh and Fit podcast, boys will line up and will stand there for ages.
I'm going to show you something real quick. On the screen right here, we have a chart from OkCupid. And this illustrates that even the most attractive men in the light blue are barely competing against girls in the mid-range, average girls.
It's not even half. It's not even half the level, right?
Not even half.
All right. So keep in mind, Right here, this is Miss Average at best. Okay, y'all should be able to see my mouse. This is an average chick. This is a 5. Okay, this right here is the type of guy that we be talking about. Over 6 feet tall, 6 figures, 6-pack with a jawline and status. That's him. Okay, this is average at best. This is Morris Chestnut. This is 6'4" Morris Chestnut with a PhD, running his own medical practice. All right. That's a 6'4" Morris Chestnut looking dude who work out 2 hours a day and is a doctor. This is the Bucky O'Hare looking chick that was in the Average at Best video with Kevin Samuels. They're performing at the same level when it comes to matches and interactions and messages and replies and the whole works on a dating app. Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
For the messages received.
Yeah.
Now, that's on a dating site. On Instagram, this is even more pronounced. Okay. And this doesn't account for, the Plenty of Fish data, the Tinder data that we have. Men do not get nearly as many options as women. And even if we're talking about top tier guys, they still cannot compete. Men and women are not the same. We're not blank slate equals.
Yeah, no, I
It's
know they're
very
not the
different.
same.
Hold on, let me finish, please. It's
You're
not
just not
the same.
making. You're not actually proving your point very well.
I think he's proven the point quite well, because if the initial premise is, if this is your woman, should she be able to have an Instagram? If she's average at best, the amount of attention that she's going to be getting, the amount of DMs she's going to be getting. If she has a public Instagram that she posts cute pictures on without you regularly, the amount of attention that she's going to be getting is going to be through the roof. And that's if she's average at best. Okay. If you mess around and get you 6, or what they call an adjustable 6 or a 7, don't even get me started. If you mess around and get you an 8, 9 or 10, it's her being on Instagram in advertise. I'm calling it advertising. Her being on Instagram posting pictures. That is a constant advertisement. That is her constantly fielding applicants. Okay. That is her posting the open sign, the we're hiring sign. That's her posting that sign. There's no way getting around that. Now, if you're talking about what Kristen Hutchinson talked about, how yes, his wife has a Facebook. She normally does kid stuff. She posts the family travel pictures. She, interacts with her sisters. When her niece takes the first steps and they post it on Facebook, and she want to be on social media to see all the little cutesy stuff, and he has access to it. And yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Especially if you're a man and you about your business and you're doing everything a man's supposed to do, and you providing for this woman. Oh yeah, no questions asked. No questions asked. And keep in mind, that's not going full dogmatic with it, saying you have to cancel all social media. That's just saying it can't be public. I gotta have access to it, and you ain't about to be posting no sexy pictures. All right. I think that's simple. I think that's reasonable.
Literally have a chart on the screen proving that women get far more attention than men do on the
from
internet.
a dating site that says women get more attention. Yes, that's obvious. But the point you made was that women should not be allowed on Instagram if they're in a relationship because of the attention they get. And you're kind of saying that guys can.
So, question for you. If you're dating somebody, right, should you be on a dating app?
Not on a dating app, no.
Okay, perfect. So do you know, right, Instagram is one of the biggest dating apps in the world.
Yeah, I get that, but it's also an app where people like to share other things. It's not all just thirst trap.
Now, Fresh made a good point. And keep in mind, look, I be cracking jokes on Fresh. Look, Myron's the star of the show. All right, Myron's the star of the show. Myron is the one who does the majority. Myron does 90% of the talking. I don't know exactly what Fresh do. And that's like a running gag on the show. The last time I was watching it, they was talking about how Fresh don't do shit. So they're aware of it. They make jokes about it. So I'm not clowning them, but Fresh actually made a good point. He's saying if you're in a relationship, you don't want to be. Damn, what did he say? See, now I'm pulling a Fresh. He said when you're in a relationship, would you let somebody be in a relationship and also be on a dating app? She said no. He pointed out that Instagram is like the biggest dating app. The whole term slide in the DM exists for a reason, because people slide in the DM and on Instagram just like they match on a dating app. It's that simple. It's that simple. People use Instagram but basically just like a dating app. A lot of people use Facebook just like a dating app. That's a good point.
Right? So,
Yes.
you know, every
And that goes back to what I said about if it's open to the public, that means people who under the radar don't even got to follow you, don't even got to like none of your pictures, don't even got to make themselves known. They could just slide in there, put their bid in, and slide out. So you can just keep posting pictures, reeling in more people. They slide in, she reject them, they slide out. They slide in, she reject them, they slide out. Slide in, she reject them, they slide out. She posts more pictures, and then that one person slide in to where, I think I'm just gonna reply to this one and see what he says. That's how it happens. That's how it happens. She might get 200 messages and be like, be very and be telling the truth. But yeah, guys slide in my DM all the time. I just ignore it. For 250 guys last month slid in my DM. I just ignored it. She's telling the truth. Until that one guy slide in. It's like she telling the truth right into that part where she start lying. Thank you, Theo Waff. You said Fresh is a multimedia genius. He knows how to work the algorithm to his advantage. Thank you, Theo. Thank you, Theo. I do know that he does the networking. I do know that he works the game behind the scenes. Put it like that. I'll give him that. And that's the thing, when somebody is working the game behind the scenes, like all the interviews, like they be having Grant Cardone and in Kiyosaki, the rich dad, poor dad guy, the guy who wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They be having people like that on this show. Fresh is the one behind the scenes doing the networking and getting all that done. So he has an important, valuable role to the team. It's just that if he's Dr. Dre, he's he's P. Diddy, he's the producer. He's the executive producer. He's the director, but he ain't the one on the album spitting the bars. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But no, he definitely adds value to the operation. But he's going to catch some jokes. He's going to catch some jokes. He's going to catch some jokes because when he start talking, it just be funny. But no, I give Fresh his credit. Look. I believe they started going live on YouTube around the same time that I started going live on YouTube. And I think I've done pretty good. But when you look at them, like, goddamn. So that's why I'm like, I got no criticism for them. Everybody be trying to criticize them about something. I got no criticism. Now, Fresh be catching some lighthearted jokes because, he says some things sometimes that just don't make sense. He had the whole little thing happening with the sugar baby. And, he had a few moments that where even the audience, cracked jokes on him about that. So it's lighthearted. Yeah, Al Boogie, you got where I was going. Fresh as Dre, Myron, and Snoop. You got where I was going. But yeah, he gonna catch lighthearted jokes from me all the time. If I do a reaction video to Fresh and Fit, Fresh is gonna catch some lighthearted jokes. But nothing against them. I don't argue or fight against success. I do not argue or fight against success.
If you're in a relationship, not every girl is posting a picture of herself in a bikini.
Here's the problem, though.
Aren't they?
If there's two scenarios here, right? A guy posts a picture of himself, let's say abs, shirtless, right? He gets attention.
Yeah.
A girl posts a picture or a story or a post, right? She gets attention. The problem is that attention is way outskilled and it's gonna be sexual because off rip, what do guys want? They want to look at pictures and take a shot at the girl. That's it. Girls might say, oh, he's cute, he's handsome, but they're not going to really approach him like, oh, I want you. It's like, okay, cute, hard eyes, and that's it. Girls are going to go after it like in a different way, we're saying.
And also, we're specifying that when she has sexy photos of herself on the internet and she's in a relationship, that is cheating. That is disrespectful to
literally.
the man. It's not.
Okay,
the
what
same.
if the guy, what if the
listen,
guy is posting a shirtless top? And
The whataboutisms, those dreaded whataboutisms. That's it's no escaping that. That's she's going to go there through and through, hands down. That's her go-to. The whataboutisms. Basically the good old fashioned men do it too argument. That's essentially what her playbook is. It's the men do it too. That's the playbook.
and he's in a relationship. Is that cheating?
No, because it's not the same at all.
Well,
Like
it
I told
is
you
the
before,
same. Just
no,
Wait, hold on. Wait, did she say sexy thirst trap photos? Hold on. Let me make sure I got it right.
when she has sexy photos of herself on the internet and she's in a relationship, that is cheating. That is disrespectful to
literally.
the man. It's not.
okay.
the
What
same.
if the guy? What if the
listen,
guy
listen,
is posting a shirtless top and he's in a relationship? Is that cheating?
No, because it's not the same at all.
Well,
Like
it
I told
is
you
the
before,
same. Just
no,
because
no,
he
I know
doesn't
why.
get as
I know
much
why it's
attention.
different. I know why
You know
it's
what?
different.
All right, now this is where they could stand to be a little more precise, in my opinion. You know, no hate, no criticism of them, because you know, like I said, they're doing a great job. But there are things that a man can do to advertise availability. Okay, there are things that a man could do that can advertise to where he could advertise availability. And if him and that woman have an arrangement to where no, we're in a committed monogamous relationship. If he's on Instagram, social media, or wherever advertising availability, then yeah, the woman can then in that situation make the same argument. The precise aspect of their argument is this: yes, women are going to get more attention. Yes, a woman advertising sexy photos, half dressed, that's going to say more than a guy, posting a shirt off picture. More is going to be done with that. But the level of preciseness that they are not specifying, I think they might later, is that if that guy is if his value is high, he's some high status, high earning, high whatever the hell, he's up there and he's dealing with that woman. And I always say with the man, I'm okay with a man getting whatever deal he negotiates. And if that deal is properly negotiated, and if a man is up there on the high on the pecking order, he could write his own ticket, and he could find the type of woman that he wants to buy that ticket. And then he's able to do essentially what he wants to do within the confines or the parameters that they laid out, that they set up. That's an argument to where it's different. That is a different thing. Okay, that is a different thing from if Steph and Aisha Curry are not in an open relationship, and then she all of a sudden posting videos of her twerking while cooking. Okay, that's different from a guy who has high status, Steph Curry type status, and letting his wife understand that, yes, I love you. You're the mother of my children. You're going to raise my kids. I'm going to take care of you. Going to do all this for you, blah, 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 blah. But every now and then, I'm going to have sex with a groupie. If she agrees to those terms and conditions, then that is what it is. Ain't nothing to talk about. That is a holistically different thing from just a regular chick with a regular dude, and she's posting pictures like that. And if you got a regular dude with a regular chick and he's posting male equivalent pictures, and that goes against whatever arrangement that they had or whatever understanding they had, then yeah, he's doing the same thing. But there's a way that a man can move to where he's not exactly in that position where he's doing the same thing. We can get the same result, the same outcome. He can get what he wants, but there's a way to negotiate it. There's a way to make it clean, clear, and plain. You said a shirtless man is not thirst trapping. No, I said there's a way for a man to display availability. It's not necessarily shirtless. It's not necessarily being shirtless. I didn't read the rest of it. Now them gray sweatpants are out of line. Man. And I'm just moving on. I'm moving on. I didn't know that was a thing for a long time. I didn't know. You learn so much on the internet. I didn't know that women had a thing for gray sweatpants, and I went my whole life not knowing that into the internet. I just was like, whoa, that's a thing. You go work out in a wife beater and some gray sweatpants. You I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know. Blue sweatpants, black sweatpants. No. They gotta be gray. I didn't know. I swear, for so long, I didn't know that. It was the internet. The internet educated me on that one.
Guys, guys, we zoom in on the girls' photos. We zoom in.
Yeah, but that's your issue.
Let me break this down for y'all. Okay, so let's Jackie, let me ask you a question. What is your dream car?
My dream car?
Yes, your dream car.
Oh, I'm not.
She
into
can have any car
cars.
she wants.
Yeah.
But what's the dream
She's
car?
got
What do
it.
you
I don't know.
want?
I'm probably driving. I'm driving a Range Rover. I love it. So
Range Rover.
let's
Okay,
just say I've already got it.
So let's go into a scenario here. Okay, let's go into a scenario.
But that's not us playing these sound effects. Just so you know.
So we're gonna go into a scenario here. All right, and just let me finish this concept, guys. Let me get through it. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say you go to the dealership and you buy a brand new Range Rover. Okay, Range Rover Sport. You've been wanting it for a while, fully decked out, $100,000, right? Australian, $120,000, Australian, right?
300 here. We got the luxury car tax. You don't know about.
300K, right? So you drive it off. You shake hands with the car dealer, sign the paperwork, pay the money, buy it cash. You're good to go. Drive it off the lot. You don't care about it losing value, whatever. This is your dream car. Take it back to your house. 2 weeks later, okay, the car dealer comes back to your place, says, "Hey, listen, man, we're kind of short on cars. We're gonna need to put a for sale sign on your car, and a couple days a week, we're gonna just need to put it on display back at the dealership, and one or two people might test drive it. Are you okay with that? How would that make you feel?"
I know the analogy you're trying to make. I own that car. I don't own my partner in a relationship, though. I don't own them.
Again, answer the question. How would that make you feel?
Well, obviously, I wouldn't be okay with that.
Okay, thank you. That's exactly how men feel when their women post sexy photos of themselves on the internet to advertise to other men, because men are territorial with their women. It's been that way since the beginning of time.
You own us in a relationship, so we can post what we want.
Wow.
Because men are territorial with their women. It's been that way since the beginning of time.
You own us in a relationship, so we can post what we want. You have an insecurity with.
Wow. Now let that one sink in. She's saying men don't own us in a relationship. In reference to the car analogy, because you do own the car. She says, I own the car. You don't own me in a relationship. So she's saying men don't own us in a relationship, so we can post whatever we want. Now, she had a chance at either winning, or I would even dare say breaking even in the argument if she would have pigeonholed it this way. Okay, we're not talking about the top of the top of men who's negotiating a deal that a lot of women will accept. No. We're talking about just a regular dude posting shout out to Jackie Jack, gray sweatpants pictures on Instagram versus a woman posting some sort of somewhat kind of scantily clad pictures on the internet. Is that even? Is it equal? It's not equal. It's not even. But should a man in a relationship be able to do that with no problem versus a woman in a relationship doing that with no problem? If she would have went down that route, she could have possibly either squeaked out a split decision victory, or bare minimum broke even. Bare minimum argued him to a draw. But when she just went full gangster, right there when she said, you don't own us in a relationship, so we can post whatever we want. That is her literally saying that we're going to behave however the hell we want to behave in a relationship, and you're just going to accept it. That is her putting the Godfather offer on the table. The make give you an offer you can't refuse type of deal. If you're going to be with me, you're going to deal with this. You're going to take this. This is a part of the deal. That's literally what she's putting out there. You know, that Godfather offer, those that don't know, they get somebody, you know, you're going to sign this contract. Okay, you're not going to, either you're going to sign this contract or I'm going to blow your brains out. You're going to sign it with your blood and brains. Either way, but the contract is getting signed either with your hand or we're going to blow your brains out, one or the other. So it's up to you. Here's a piece of paper, up to you, no pressure. Go ahead and sign the contract. Like that's the Godfather offer. Okay, just basically saying this is going down either way. If you want access to me, you're going to have to accept this. Like when it gets to the point where she's advocating for that, she's not even calling for them. Like she's not even calling for equality. She's calling for advantage. Because I'm pretty sure that she would also say, if she's going to make that argument, I'm sure she wouldn't also say that, oh, the man, well, I don't own that man, so he can post whatever he wants, so he can just, you know, he can he could post gray jogging pants pictures and be at like 75% in the picture. Wife beater, gray jogging pants, and he had 75%, no drawers on. Are you okay with him doing that? Well, you don't own him. He can post whatever he want, right? So it's like she's not calling for equality, okay? She's calling for advantage. She's calling for acceptance of whatever the hell we want to do. We're going to do it. You're going to accept it. If you don't accept it, you're an insecure man. That is what she's saying. That is literally what she's saying. Let's not make no bones about that.
That's on.
Now Myron is calling for an advantage, but the difference is, and this is a big difference, whenever he talks about that advantage, he tends to talk about it from the perspective of a high value man who's going to risk it all, marry a chick, and he's providing everything and he's doing everything for her and he has options out of the world, but she's going to be the one that's going to benefit from all his hard work. She's getting a really, really sweet deal. And, you know, and part of that deal is that, yeah, you're going to look the other way. You're going to look the other way. You're getting the sweetest deal on earth. I'm going to do everything for you, but you're going to have to look the other way. If he's looking at it from that perspective, because he wasn't talking about, it's going to be later in the conversation, you're going to hear it, where they're not really going to be talking about all this the spinning plates and stuff. He ain't talking about spinning plates and pumping and dumping. If you listen to his argument as he fleshes it out, he's basically saying that he's basically making the same argument that Kevin Samuels made. High value man don't cheat, they exercise options. That's basically the argument that he's going to make. And for a man who's putting all that on the table, providing all of that, he can negotiate that deal. He can negotiate that deal. I know y'all don't like the word negotiate, but it's really not a dirty word when you look up the definition of negotiate. He can negotiate that deal. He could write that ticket and she will accept it. A lot of women will accept it. But that's the advantage that he's talking about. An advantage where he's kind of putting himself at disadvantage, you know. Kind of putting himself at disadvantage, you know, once you get to the point to where you've impregnated a woman and let alone went and signed some legally binding documents at a courthouse with a woman and you're successful and you're building yourself up and you're going to at some point in your life, you know, have resources that where a woman is getting a pretty good severance package if she divorces you and take half. Yeah, you're providing all that, you're risking all that. Yeah, I'm going to exercise some options. You're going to be only for me though. That's what he's saying for the top of men. She's saying across the board with all women, we can post whatever we want on Instagram because you don't own us. And you're insecure if you object.
Let me finish.
I'm letting you finish, but every time I let you finish.
You're literally cutting me off right now. Like I'm
I know. Okay, go.
And because men are territorial with their women. It's been that way since the beginning of time.
You own us in a relationship, so we can post what we want. You have an insecurity with that. That's on you.
Let me finish.
I'm letting you finish, but every time I let you finish.
You're literally cutting me off right now. Like I'm
I know. Okay, go. What are you laughing at?
No, I'm laughing because you're not letting me finish. So my point is this.
I did.
My point is simply this. Men, that's how men view relationships with women. They might not admit this, but men are territorial with their women. This is why women that are promiscuous have a very difficult time getting men to commit to them, because men don't want to be with women that other men have been with, or they don't want a girl that has high mileage. That's why when you went to the dealership, you paid full price for that vehicle, brought it back home, and then someone said, hey, I want to still be able to see it or whatever. You had a point of contention with that. Why? Because you paid full price for the vehicle and you feel like you're getting used in
Real quick. That's actually a fair point, Indigenous TV. He said, yeah, I still think Becky is better when it comes to the modern logic of modern women in a Western society. Some of that stuff is across the board. Some of it is across the board. There are differences. I'm not going to say that there are not differences. But if you watch, if you watch Fresh and Fit, you hear how a lot of the Beckys, as we call them, you hear how Becky think when you watch Fresh and Fit. They think in a very similar way. They just probably a little less likely to throw some hot grits on you. But but they think very similarly. All right, they think very similarly. Let's not skate past that one. There's differences though. I'm not going to break down and get all into the differences. I've done that on a lot of streams. There are some differences, but yeah. Theo Wapp in the building says Aussie Beckys are exceptionally horrible. I think Theo would know. He's been all over the place. He's been all over the world. He probably would know. I wouldn't know about the Australian Beckys. I don't know nothing about the Australian Beckys. But all right.
abused when you put all the money down. That's how men view relationships and marriage with women. If I'm going to give you my last name, you cannot go out there and embarrass me. Men and women are not the same when it comes to relationships.
Can I now say something?
Please go
Women
ahead.
sometimes feel the same way. We could be in a relationship with a man who's gorgeous and he's posting shirtless tops on Instagram. And we feel like, oh, that, that's a thirst trap, right? You're wanting attention. So why is it different? You just think it's okay for a guy to do it, but not okay for a girl to do it because you're territorial. We can be territorial too, but it goes back to my point.
The worst thing is a territorial
woman.
woman.
Is that you just don't own someone. Like your analogy about the car is way off because that is something I've paid for and I own. In a relationship, I don't pay for it and I don't own the person.
Here's the thing: you're letting your feelings.
I had to walk away for a second, so I wasn't able to pause that. When she talked about a territorial woman, that's a no-go. Okay. That's a no-go, a territorial woman. I'm okay with an emotionally wrapped up woman who just really she just really likes and loves me and I'm cool with that. And she'll be hurt if things go wrong and this or that, but territorial? Nah. That we on some territorial stuff. That's massive. Like a woman, she can get territorial if she find out another woman was in the marital bed. You can be territorial then, but don't be walking around like alpha dog marking your territory on me when we in public. I just had a bad image in my head. But anyway, shout out to Theo once again for that $10 super chat.
Right, get in the way of understanding the basic.
I'm not. I'm thinking rationally. I'm really not.
Can I please finish my point? I let you speak.
You love saying that. You say that as a really.
Oh, and I do want to point out the guy on the show. This guy right here. Remember, he just said that. Oh, it's nothing worse than a territorial woman. Like this dude is low key undercover in the closet, red pill. I do want to point that out. He's been agreeing with Fresh and Fit on a lot of stuff, and he's been asking them general, talk show host questions. Like you see me do that sometimes when I interview somebody, to where I'll pull back. You kind of know what my position is, but sometimes I'll pull back and I'll just ask questions just to set them up. Just so they can get out their points. Sometimes you got to do that as the host. Got to fall back and not insert yourself into the debate. But he's been slipping in a lot of stuff. He said that was him that said there's nothing more worse than a territorial woman. So keep that in mind when y'all see the end of this thing.
Passive aggressive
He'd be
way
a
of
great
having a
arguer, this guy.
conversation. Not really, because I see what you're doing. I see right through it, but go ahead.
Here's the thing. I'm explaining to you how men view relationships. You might not like it. It might hurt your feelings. You might say, I'm not a piece of property or whatever, but with all due respect, fuck your feelings. This is how men view
fuck
relationships.
your feelings. I don't care about your
I'm not
feelings
using
either.
All right, this is nationally syndicated radio. Fuck your feelings is a catchphrase, is a tagline. Facts over feelings. Fuck your feelings. Yeah, but yeah, you could. I would have kept that. I would have kept that because I would have just hit them with good, straightforward, quality points, and then let them fly off the rails on their own. Him saying "fuck your feelings" on nationally syndicated radio, that's going to give them the excuse to act up. That's going to give the Australians over there an excuse to try to paint them negatively. So it's a balancing act where you want to be yourself, but you don't want to give somebody the excuse to say, "See, we told you he was this, we told you he was that." Beat them with the points, beat them with the facts. That's where I'm at with it.
You're actually
like that. That's what Jordan Peterson do in conversations like this. He beat them with the points. He beat them with the facts. And then if they get mad and they blow up, that's just on them. But all right.
Misogynistic and egotistical, and
you see, I didn't even see. I watched this already, but I didn't even remember. That's where she dropped the word misogynistic just because he said the F word. He dropped the F bomb. He said, "Fuck your feelings." Okay, great. Now I can call you a misogynist. Now I can paint it this way. Now I can paint it that way. That's why you got to be careful. And that's why, Kevin Samuels can be a tactician when it comes to knowing when to snap, when to not snap. We're not about to resurface the whole Nicki Minaj thing. We ain't going there, but you gotta know when to play your hands, when to keep your cards close to your chest. That I don't think that was a good play to just go right to the fuck your feelings, because now he's giving them an excuse to just to blow up the spot and make it seem like he blew up the spot.
It's a kind of a concern the way you view relationships, like you have ownership of women. Yeah, that's kind of how it's coming across.
When did we say we own women?
Yeah, when did we say that?
It's like, if I'm going to give you my last name and I'm going to commit to you, then you're not allowed to have a for sale sign around your neck by being in a bikini. That kind of
if a man, especially a high quality, high status man whose value is high and he's up there, but he commits to that woman, she shouldn't want to do that. She shouldn't want to post the for sale sign. She shouldn't want to make it clear to the world that she still has a price. Like that's literally how it works. It's not about me saying that I own you. I committed to you, so I own you. Even though I do, internally think like that sometimes. But that's besides the point. The fact of the matter is, she should actually like it. Like the woman I'm with, my woman, she likes it. I remember me and her, we posted. It was on Patreon, and she, lighthearted said I was a tyrant, and then I asked her, how much of it do you like? Do you like it though? And I forgot what she broke it down into percentages. I forgot what exactly the percentages was. But long story short, that how do I say this? And I be being careful because I think some of her family be listening to the show and shit. But she likes being owned. I'll just say that. I'll just say that and move on. But yeah, it's not on some I own you, my property. It's like, no, when relationships work out, She likes being under you. She likes being under you. That's a relationship that's working out properly. If she's feeling like she's being owned and she don't like it, then she don't like you. Or she don't like some aspect of the relationship, or she one of those ones that truthfully that want you to submit to her. She want to top from the bottom, the BDS term. That's or she one of those ones. She want to run the relationship, but then once you start running it, she's not going to respect you when she's running it. But the woman who's behaving properly, who's conducting herself in a way conducive to a happy, functioning relationship, yeah, she likes you being in control, and she basically likes being under you. I ain't talking about sex, but anyway.
Behavior is like that scares me in a relationship.
Well,
I
remember,
would never want to be with a guy that is like that.
a woman can do whatever.
Little Big Nate, the one, I don't know if I told you this, the one-on-one we did, I took it down and I've been boiling. I'm supposed to be posting it to Patreon, but I'm going to take the best clip of it when you and OG was going at it. I'm going to make a pre-recorded out of that. So yeah, I took it down, but I'll but it's part of it's going to be reposted. I just been boiling, and when it came to getting it reposted. But shout out to Lil Big Nate. Make sure y'all subscribe to Lil Big Nate. Go check him out. Go support that brother. Me and him did a one-on-one. It's going to be part of it is going to be going. The best parts of it is going to be going back up. So if you didn't see that one-on-one, make sure you check that out when I repost part of it. But all right, getting back into it. But shout out to Lil Big Nate.
She wants.
She can do whatever she
We're
wants.
just
Honestly,
saying, our standards are this. If you want to comply,
Scares me in a relationship.
well,
I
remember,
would never want to be with a guy that is like that.
a woman can do whatever.
So if you ask her what type of guy she wants to be with, she's probably going to say, "Oh, I want to be with a competent, strong, higher earning, protecting, providing man who's going to commit to me, who wants to marry me, who wants to do all of this great, wonderful stuff." But also, she don't want that man to have any authority, be in a leadership position over her, and she still want to reserve the right to post sexy pictures on Instagram. Like if you look at for the type of deal that Myron is talking about, it's a deal where there is a trade-off. There's some give, there's some takes. Shout out to Thomas Sowell. There's no solutions, there's only trade-off. There is some trade-off, there is some give and take. Hers is completely one-sided. I want to still present as single while got a man being traditional for me. I want to still be modern. If you really break down what she's saying, that's what she's saying.
Whatever she wants.
she can do whatever she
We're
wants.
just
Honestly,
saying, our standards are this. If you want to comply, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
and remember, we're talking about a committed relationship with a man. So if you put pictures like that on the internet, that's fine. You can do it. We never said you can't do it. You're putting words in our mouth. I'm simply saying, if I'm going to commit to you, give you marriage, give you a title, give you a ring, give you children, I expect a certain type of woman. Why is it that when men have standards,
she's giving you all those things too?
Exactly. I love it how it's
She's
just
giving
them
you
giving,
women.
You're giving it to us.
Let me finish.
We should be so thankful.
Let me finish. When a man gives because here's the thing, women control sex, men control relationships. So since I'm the gatekeeper to relationships, you want to take my last name. Last time I checked, girls want to walk down the aisle in a white dress.
That was some bull when she said, but we're giving you all of those things too. Like, no, that part isn't equal. Women, y'all want that. When it comes to the dreamboat guy who's going to give you all of that, what you're giving in return, no. It's not the same. Not the same. Not equal. She's giving something. But it's not the same. It's not the same. And the only thing that he's truly saying is that me giving that is that, yeah, there's going to be standards and requirements. She's saying, yes, give me all that, but have no standards and requirements.
With their father leading them, correct? To a man. Women are the ones that want security in a marriage. So if I'm a man and I'm going to give you that, I need to vet you and make sure that you are a good candidate to be my wife.
Oh my
and my
God,
family.
I want to
So,
vomit
can I please
listening
finish?
to what
Can I
you're
please finish?
saying.
Can I please finish?
First of all, do you live in the 1960s? Women are making their own money these days, my friend. I am the one that
They think money gives them opportunity and freedom and full just ability to not conduct themselves like women in relationships. Them have that's basically what she's saying.
support.
And that 1950 stuff, no, that part is nonsense. It's some reeks of it does reek of 1950s, but really a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, especially when you break it down to submission, like there's a natural element to submission. There's a natural element to that. Okay. You strip away society, culture, civilization. And I've done a stream on this, and I've talked about how this society has been built to the point to where, yes, a woman, like for example, my woman, she's real good at math, and that affords her to be able to, get some good grades in school and get a good job. Okay. So that makes it to the point to where she can earn just as much money as me. Okay. You strip away this society, culture, civilization, then what is it? It's her picking berries and I'm out, hunting animals, risking life and limb to come bring food home so she can eat, and then protecting her, risking life and limb, protecting her from other groups of men. It's like it's a whole nother thing. It's a shit hit the fan society, Walking Dead without the zombies, and the amount with the degree in which she needs me is more. That's why women still, even though they're making that money, they want a man that makes just as much as what they make, if not more. They want a man who can protect, who can provide, who looks big, who looks strong, who looks like he could do all of these things that's really unnecessary nowadays. He could be 5'6" and 130 pounds. It don't matter. He got a gun and can put you in a good neighborhood. You should get with that guy if we're just going to think logical based off modern times. But no, it's still a certain type of guy that they want. Why? Because they're hardwired to want that certain guy. So it's not about going back to the 50s. It's a more natural hardwired arrangement. That was we're really talking about an arrangement that we're hardwired to want, more or less through evolution. Now, do modern society do you have to make some adjustments due to modern society? And yeah, of course, we don't live in a natural world anymore. So we can't just, you can't just act like we're just out on the savannah anymore. Like that's not how we live in. I understand that completely. But the mere fact that women want a man to behave traditionally, she wants a man to behave not just like the 1950s. She wants him behaving and protecting her the same way that men have protected women for thousands of years. That's what she wants. That's what she wants. Even though she can make her own money, get her own house in a nice neighborhood, and shoot her own gun if an intruder comes. She could do all that. All that is perfectly possible and feasible for her to do. Okay? But she still wants a man for those reasons. Why? Because she's still operating on what she's hardwired to want. So when men are in these spaces talking about the things that, yeah, we're hardwired to want this, and it is what it is, then she's calling for us to be modern, but her to be traditional.
Supports the man in a relationship. I don't need security from a man.
Okay,
there it is. There it is. Okay, but what do you want? I don't know if they asked her this question, but what do you want? And I guarantee she's going to describe a man who's going to essentially provide modern security.
But most
and that's
of them
a lot of
men.
women.
No, actually, no.
Shit, I'm jumping in on Jackie's side.
Actually,
here.
no.
Hang on.
Total
Here's
garbage.
Palestine. She's wild. She's from Palestine. Don't muck with her. You're Molotov
Just
cocktail.
so you know, I post bikini shots on my Instagram and I'm engaged and my partner is totally secure with that. You guys are full of shit.
You're a bit of a thirsty bitch, though, right? On there when you're doing it. Who do you want attention from when you're doing this?
You see my man right there? I told y'all he agreed with Fresh and Fit. I think he just said she's posting thirst trap pictures. Who do you want attention from right there? I think he just literally said, who is it that you want attention from right there? Like, for real. She posts bikini pics by herself and she's engaged. Yeah, your husband don't know that he's going to be a potential cuck. Okay. Or your fiance don't know.
engaged, and my partner is totally secure.
Palestine.
No, actually,
Oh,
no.
shit, I'm jumping in on Jackie's side
Actually,
here.
no.
Oh, hang on.
Total
Hang on. Here's
garbage.
Palestine. She's wild. She's from Palestine. Don't muck with her. You'll Molotov
Just so
cocktail.
you know, I post bikini shots on my Instagram and I'm engaged, and my partner is totally secure
Congratulations.
with that. You guys are full of shit.
You're a bit of a thirsty bitch, though, right? On the when you're doing it. Who do you want attention from
Yo,
when
the
you're
truth
doing
is-
this?
I'm not.
We can.
He said, "Damn, that was worse." He said, "You're a bit of a thirsty bitch when you do that. Who do you want?" You're a bit of a thirsty bitch when you do that. Who do you want attention from? Like, this dude is low key red pill, but he's the one who's gonna blow up on Fresh and Fit because he's gonna realize he have to.
Do it, guys.
We can do whatever we want. We're still gonna get proposed to, dickhead.
I guarantee you.
There's no need to be nasty,
Yeah, no,
girls.
He's not happy. I
I'm not
guarantee
being
you.
nasty. I'm literally like, I just think your views are really antiquated.
Here's the thing.
How does she not see nothing wrong with her views that she's posting sexy pictures of her in a bikini on Instagram while she's engaged? She don't think nothing is wrong with her views.
Again, like I said, this is how men view relationships. This is how men generally
Not
feel
all men.
when they're in
No way
relationships
all
with
men
women.
Not
think
all
that.
men.
Well, you're gay, Brooklyn. Well, you stick to your
Guys,
own
But
lane.
men don't.
Guys,
Kyle, you
can I
don't.
finish
Speak
my
up,
point?
Kyle.
Can
It's
I
like
finish my point here? Like, you guys,
I'm not
ask
allowed. I don't
that
think
question.
we're never allowed to talk in this interview. It feels.
Because here's the thing, you guys asked us to come on your show.
Here's
We're
the
answering the
thing.
questions, and you guys are not letting us answer the questions. You're just cutting us off and
No, I
shaming us
have.
or whatever.
I've definitely
simply
let you
telling you-
answer.
I'm simply telling you how men feel about giving their commitment away to women. You don't like the answer, but I'm telling you how men generally think. It's just that they can't say this because look at how you guys responded to what I told you. Shame, guilt, insults, trying to attack our masculinity.
Why you ain't go ahead and say need to be right? They don't rock with Kevin Samuels no more, but he quoted 75% of his shit. But it'd be like that in this space. You accidentally say somebody's stuff and you're supposed to shout it out, but okay. But anyway.
Whatever it may be, men can't be honest with women
No.
because you guys can't accept the truth.
It's
And
a
going back
debate.
to what
It's
you're
your
saying-
opinion versus
And going
my
back to what
opinion.
you're saying you don't like care, like, oh, I could provide my own money, my own security. Congratulations, that's great. But regardless, when women make a certain amount of money, they still want a man that makes more money than they do, typically around 26% more, or no, 52% more. So you can
Where are you
say
getting
that.
those stats from? Can I
That's
ask?
a stat here in the United States. Women typically want
Please, I don't want
at
another
least-
chart on the
They
screen.
want at least.
Hey, good stuff, Al Boogie. I didn't know that was true. I didn't know that shame, guilt, shame, insult. What is it? Shame, guilt, insult need to be right. I didn't know that came from BGS, but if that came from BGS, good correction on that one. I didn't know that.
Least 26 to 52% more income than they do. Women date up. This has been known since the beginning of time. Women do not only date their equals, if not preferable.
Please, I don't want another chart on the screen.
They want at least 26 to 52% more income than they do. Women date up. This has been known since the beginning of time. Women do not only date their equals, if not preferably higher. So if a man is expected to come in, right, bring security, make more money, etc., why can't he have requirements?
No. You're missing what I'm saying. What did I say? King, whatever. He said, Bernard, you don't have to watch KS to know about shaming language. No. He didn't just say they was saying shaming language. Kevin Samuels do got a very specific thing that he say called sign language. Shame, insult, guilt need to be right. Something like that. Yeah. Shame, insult, guilt need to be right. That's right. Sign language. And so when he said shame, insult, guilt, he was in the process of quoting Kevin Samuels right there. That's all I'm saying. It ain't that big of a deal. I ain't tripping, but it's just funny when two people who don't rock with each other end up accidentally quoting each other, and then they stop halfway because they don't want to, they don't want to say it all the way through, and then they end up having to give credit to somebody who they don't acknowledge no more. That's all. It's funny. It was funny. But if he just would have said you're using shaming language, then no, I wouldn't have credited Kevin Samuels for that. But sign language, as what Al Boogie just put right there, that sign language, shame, insult, guilt need to be right. That is a thing. That is an acronym that he uses. Yes, you're making my point. Kevin quotes Myron before also. Yes. What I'm saying is they don't rock with each other no more, but they still accidentally end up quoting each other. That's all I'm saying. This isn't a coming at him for quoting Kevin Samuels and not giving proper credit and attribution. Kevin Samuels has been guilty of not giving proper credit and attribution. I'm just joking because they don't rock with each other no more, but they still be quoting each other. I'm getting a laugh out of it. That's all. Like, goddamn.
Why is it that a woman can say, I want a guy that makes this much money, this tall, this good looking, this charming, this confident, and a man says something simple like, I don't like to date women that put sexy photos of themselves on the internet for other men to see when she's supposed to be my woman. Why is that met with such contempt from women? Tell me that.
Well, he should take his Instagram down too.
That's my whole point. Is your double standards? You've got double standards.
I think it's a jealousy issue because, like, I've dated women that were online and had big Instagram.
See, she said that it's a double standard, but I wonder, like, when they said that, hey, I can post bikini, I'm engaged and I post bikini pics, and my husband or my fiance doesn't care. I wonder whatever the Australian equivalent is to posting a wife beater pic in a gray jogging pants on. I wonder, does she say that she don't care if he's regularly posting those type of pictures? I wonder what she would say to that. Whatever the Australian equivalent to that is.
Instagram followers and models, singers, all this. I've never thought, oh, like, even my friends though, you're not wrong. My friends have said, bro, your missus is doing this online or whatever. This is over the years, and like, I couldn't care because I'm solid
and
in myself. Maybe
yourself.
I'm a fool. Maybe I'm a fool. Maybe not. I don't know. But I do agree with Jackie that your partner shouldn't be. It's not like a pet. You don't own them. You can't control them. But I know what you're saying. You're not wrong. What you guys are saying, as a generalization, but I think some men, some women, they think differently. But I do think when you're younger, in your 20s, you are jealous. Men are crazy. We don't get our head together until we're in our late 30s.
Can I just
we're mental.
Stop you guys for a second? We're going to take a short break and come back. Is that okay? Because we've got calls coming through. So people that want to ask you some questions.
Well, I didn't finish articulating my point, but we can answer
okay. Excellent. All right. We'll be back in a moment. If you want to talk to the guys from the Fresh and Fit podcast, do you think their theory is right? Do you oppose it? You can give us a call now on 131065. Let's
go. All right.
See her? I'm going to rejoin.
I'm just skipping back to the conversation. They was off the air for like 7 minutes or so.
To be honest with,
I think.
Are we back?
Yeah, I think we're back.
All right. The pick was.
Oh, see, that sounds fun.
That we don't commit.
But as
words
was how it's
just skipping ahead. Give me a second.
That was another music.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. We almost back.
Reaction, guys. Regular people, bro. They're gonna get mad. They're gonna get triggered. Their knee-jerk reaction. Knee-jerk reaction. Oh, yeah, they are.
Wait, it's black again.
They're misogynistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
You're right. Wait, we got the boomerang and saying, they are right.
Delusional like this in the United States too, bro. That don't operate in reality, thinking men and women are the same.
God damn! How long is this intermission?
They don't understand that men.
Okay.
Calls because can you hear it?
So.
All right, here it is. Here it is. They back.
Panel operator, fool. Okay, so forget about that embarrassment. Turn the music down, clown.
Are we with you guys? Can you hear us still?
We're back.
Yeah, we're here.
You're back. Okay, great. We have some calls because if you just tuned in, obviously we're talking about a viewpoint that you guys have, which is if you're in a relationship, a girl should not have an Instagram account because technically that's cheating because of the amount of attention she gets from
it's
guys.
Not just the account. I think it's the account where you're gyrating around in your undies or less and blowing kisses and all this stuff.
I'm pretty sure I asked, can you just have an Instagram account?
No, we clearly established that it's sexy photos when you're in a committed relationship that's disrespectful.
But the thing is you're saying a guy can post sexy photos and he can do that in a relationship.
Yes. Men and women are not the same.
Right. So, but you said that men love quantity over quality, right? So
that is true.
You'll react differently when a female pays you attention to what a female would.
Any attention from any female ever is just we think, oh yeah, they want to bang us. That's what we think.
Yeah. And so I believe that you guys are more likely to act on it because, like you said, it's quality over quantity.
That's correct. Yeah. I think
you're
she's
saying
spot
from a
on
male
there.
perspective or a female perspective?
So from your perspective, you say
Yep.
the males want quantity over quality.
Mhm.
So if you're getting attention on Instagram,
Yeah, you're more likely to message them back.
You're more likely exactly to act on it.
Okay, but the thing is that women rarely message men. Like I showed you guys before. That's why I
Yeah, but it
demonstrated.
was half, only half,
Well, that's why I
according
showed
to
you
your
guys.
data.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not half. It was the most top flight of men get an equal amount of messages as the average woman. The top of men gets the equal amount of messages as the average woman. That's on dating apps, matches, messages, replies, responses, the whole thing. That's what the data showed. They showed the data earlier in the show. The guys who are not in that top tier level, they get next to nothing. They get next to nothing. So that's why it's a moot point to even have that discussion. It's a moot point to have the discussion, or a lot of guys, especially if we're talking about just DM slides or chicks sliding on Facebook. A lot of times, more times than not, that chick that's just ruthlessly just shooting her shot at you. In most cases, especially if you're just a regular dude, just aight looking regular dude. Chances are, yeah. Like I said, men, they stay in their lane and 2 levels below it. The chick that slide in your DM, she's liable to be 3 to 4 levels below it. Like, come on.
You're still getting messaged. So let's
Here's the
say
thing,
I'm getting
guys.
messaged by.
If
Can
you're
I
gonna
just
ask
make
me a
one point?
question-
Can you just let
if
me
you're gonna
finish for a
ask a
second?
question,
And
you should
again, I
let
want
me.
to make it clear. I'm talking about the majority of men. I'm talking about the majority of men. There are some men who don't operate like this. Like I said, the top tier is a different thing. I'm talking about the majority of men. The chick that's sliding in your DM is typically something you ain't trying to mess with.
Finish.
I just want to make one point. So if I'm on Instagram and I'm getting 40 DMs and you're getting 20 DMs, my point is that you guys are more likely to respond to the 20 DMs than we are to the 40 DMs.
That comment down there at the bottom, one of their super chats, that's from Rollo Tomasi, and I'm very late to the party on Rollo Tomasi. I mean, I understand who and what he is, but I just very recently found out about I don't really mess with the white manosphere. That just was what it is. I miss nothing against it, nothing personal, but it's just a lot of the people that are major pillars in that. I don't know, I don't know that much about him, but I do understand who Rollo Tomasi is, and that's his channel, Rational Male. And what he's saying right there is a good point. That I referenced this point. I didn't have the data in front of me. I'm bad at that. I got to get better at having a bunch of links in a database. So whenever I say something that's stat related, I can drop the link immediately. I got to get better at that. But what he's saying right there is, let me make that bigger so I can see it. Let me make that bigger so I see it. He says women view 80% of men as below average in attractiveness. Below average in attractiveness. It's data for this on the dating apps. Men liked more than 60% of female profiles. It's data for this. Okay. While women liked only 4.5% of male profiles. It's data for that. Okay. It's data for that. And some of y'all are saying that, hey, Rollo Tomasi is, what do you say? Rational Male is a foundational book in the general manosphere. Yeah, I know. Listen, I said I understand who he is. I'm just late to the party on it. I don't pay that much attention to the white manosphere. That's all I'm saying. But I understand exactly who he is. But the data, the data is in on that. They literally find about 4.5% of male profiles attractive. So that turns into a situation for just a regular dude, even if you're slightly above average, that turns into a situation for you where you're not going to get good results on a dating app And then if you don't got the social element, social skills to you, if you're not developing that to where you're not being social, you're not getting in environments, you're not networking, you don't got a friend group, if you don't got none of that going on, like that's where dudes get on that I don't want to say incel because that implies an ideology, but I'm just saying incel in the sense that you want to have sex but you're not having sex. That's how you get into that realm where you can go a year, 2 years, 3 years without getting none. Like that's how that happens. That's how that happened. Some Alex Young says Tom Lakis is the originator of all these talking points. Yeah, I go back pretty far with Tom Lakis. I knew about Tom Lakis in like 2005. I go back with Tom Lakis. Nate Dog 74 says, "Damn, less than 5%. No wonder we have so many." Man, gone. Man, get out of there, little big Nate. But it's funny what he posted right there. He didn't post the exact link, but he just explained in the super chat what I was explaining earlier in the show. And we've talked about that in this space a lot. That men like over 60% of the female profiles, women only like about 4.5% of the male profiles. Women view 80% of the men as below average in attractiveness. And that's why my unsubstantiated by the data claim that I made is that men, yeah, you can work on those dating apps. You can work on those dating. You can get something done on those dating apps, even if you're in that, even if you're somewhere, not at the bottom of that 80%, but if you're somewhere in that 80%, you can get something done. But like I said, men stay in their lane and 2 levels below it. I spent a lot of time on dating apps. I did have some success on there, but a lot of the matches was with women that was and I was in a moment back then. I was in a moment fresh out of a marriage when I was taking all comers. So I got some skeletons in my closet that I hope don't show up. Hope they don't just show up in my chat room one day. Hope they don't just see me on the internet and just pop and just pull up on me. And we have to hurry up and block their ass. But I've had but long story short is that yeah, that 80% that they view what is it? Oh, women view 80% of men as below average in attractiveness. Yeah, that's 80% unattractive. So even if you're in that top 20%, they probably just think you average height. Like that's what it is. That's what it is. All right. But it's not impossible. You can improve yourself, improve your game, improve a lot of things. You can, no matter, I always say, no matter how bumpy the terrain is, you got to roll up your sleeves and figure out how to drive on it. We're men. But anyway.
Here's the thing. Men and women are not the same. Women, women
men are more likely to reply.
Women like attention. Men want sex. That's how it is. So when a girl's out there advertising herself, it's not the same as when a man is advertising himself, because a man's not going to get nearly the same amount of attention. And then on top of that, men of status, men that are attractive, that have money, hey, it's just exercising options. Men are going to go ahead and enact on those options if they have the ability to do so. So my thing is, a man is capable of having sex with other women while still loving his girl the same. So it's not that big a deal, but it is a big deal if your girl's out here and are fielding options. If your woman's out here fielding options, bingo. That's an issue.
Bingo.
Oh, sorry. So you're actually saying that in a relationship, it's okay for men to go and explore other options, but we have to be happy with you and not explore options.
Absolutely. Closed on your end, open on my end, and I think this should be honest between the two. Now,
why would anyone agree to that?
You can't just go throwing that thing around and women sit at home waiting for you to come home, don't to smell the juice of another woman on you.
Here's the thing. Can all men get away with this? Absolutely not. A small minority of men can. But the reality is, since the beginning of time, strong, powerful men, right, that had money and status were always able to have hordes of women. Look at Hugh Hefner. Look at Dan Blazarian. Look at kings. Look at sultans of past. This is what women do. Women are attracted to men that have.
I spoke to Dan Bilzerian Yeah, I'm sick of you asking to finish your long, boring answers that are the same answer every time we ask you a question. Even Dan Bilzerian last week told me to my face, yeah, so fucking what, clown? Here you are on the show. I can turn you off as well. Just turn these clowns off. See you fellas, grow up, ring us back when you're 30 and you've got half a brain. You're not running around being led by your own dicks. Bye-bye. See you later. Turn them off.
Very professional.
There you go.
Very professional.
No. That's where the quit came in. Now let this sink in. What happened? What happened between the moment where he was agreeing with them on everything to the moment where he just completely lost it and snapped? He was saying the whole show, he was saying a lot of very red pill sounding stuff, and just out of nowhere, he just blew up. He just blew up out of nowhere for no reason. Myron basically just reiterated the same stuff that he had been saying. He reiterated the same stuff that he's not been saying, but he said he did say, I mean, he did say it pretty bold. Open on my end is closed on your end. Be acknowledged, like I said earlier in the show. Most men can't get away with that. But there are men that can get away with that. If the point and message of that they put out there, that a lot of people, in these spaces point out, is that, yeah, get yourself to the point to where you're the type of man who can, get away with that, who can pull that off if that's what you want. The shocking thing is that a lot of men actually don't want that. A lot of men actually don't want that. A lot of the dating coaches have exposed that, has said that, but they basically, literally, the guy was agreeing with them the whole show. So that does put me to the point. The link is in the chat. Anybody want to come up? But that does put me to the point. That put me in a place where I'm like, what happened? Was he thinking about the sponsors? Was he thinking about the female co-host? It's like, you're going to let this go? You're going to let this ride? You're not going to, I'm sitting there looking at this like, dang, did he get that Jada Pinkett Smith side eye or something? Like something happened where he just snapped. Like homeboy just snapped and went off. Whether it's the sponsors, whether that's the women on the show, or maybe his wife at home, who knows who he had to answer to, but he just switched his whole energy just instantly. Just went from 0 to 100. The chick on the show, she gradually was building up. Y'all can't see she was gradually building up like a roller coaster on the way up. She was building up to 100. He just went from 0 to 100. He went from 0 to 100 real fast. And I mean real fast. God damn. But Fresh and Fit, shout out to them. We actually joined by we are joined by Obsidian. Give me a second. We are joined by Obsidian. The link is in the chat. Anybody can come on up. Give me a second. Got a dotted I across the T. I see you down there, Hoop Jargon. I appreciate that super chat. I see you down there. Give me a second. Had to do something really, really, really quick. Got to dot this I across this T before we get going. All right. Had to take care of that. All right. Stand by. Obsidian. We got Hoop Jargon in the building. Says went to work and catching up. Had to drop 10 for the Bucky O'Hare rep. That one just came out of me, called the best chick that you look like Bucky O'Hare. I ain't think nobody remembered that one. He said that took me back. Absolutely. We in the same. Yeah, I can tell we the same age. But all right. We got Obsidian in the building. Welcome to the show. And hold on, Bernard. Hey, what's going on? And since we got Obsidian here, y'all know what to do. Drop the link to, not the links to his channel, but drop the links to blackmanosphere.events. RM, if you're listening, I know you got the links saved and ready to go. So drop those links. That's not what I'm looking for. Not that right there. Okay. Drop the links, blackmanosphere.events. Going down in Philly. going down in Philly. The story to tell in the building says, I think he got chewed out on that 7-minute break. Yeah, he got chewed out on that 7-minute break. He got called into someone's Zoom office for a stern talking to. Yeah, because he changed. He switched up real fast. Went from agreeing with them to just completely snapping. But thank you for the super chat. A story to tell in the building. Make sure y'all drop the link to a story to tell's channel right there. It's fairly easy to find. I don't know if you got a wrench yourself. You could drop that link. Do appreciate you coming on through with the super chat. But go ahead, Obsidian. You have the floor. You have the mic. What you got on this?
Yeah, I was listening as I was doing some other stuff this morning, and I was listening to you lay out the case in Fresh and Fit's interview. Very interesting exchange. You at one point in your monologue, you had made, or not monologue, but at one point along in the
reaction,
you made the point or asked the question whether at one point Myron, he essentially says F your feelings, and it pretty much set the stage for what would eventually happen. And I agree with you. I think that was a bad look. I thought he was doing very well until he did that, because I agree with you. She was looking for a way in to kind of discredit him. And he kind of, gave her the shiv, so to speak. So and then you made the point about Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson, how he handles things. And well, number one, he doesn't use profanity. And the second thing is he's very careful to cite sources. So you can't attack him. You would have to attack the source. And I think that if there's one big takeaway from this, is that those of us who consider ourselves, culture warriors of varying stripe, we would do well to remember that, to try to refrain from using language that would give the other side an out, and also to really bone up on your sources and cite them frequently.
Yeah, I agree that he obviously did a good job. He obviously did a real good job, and like I said, that just fuck your feelings. That is a phrase. That's a catchphrase. It's a slogan. It's something that's said. It's something that we throw out there all the time. But nationally syndicated radio, they're on actual old school radio. Like that's
I don't know how they're I don't know how they operate down in Australia. Here in the United States, of course, you have the 7 forbidden words and FCC laws and stuff like that. So
yeah. So that's a bad play for that reason. You do got to know where you're at, and you could make the point just as firm. But yeah, that gave them all the ammunition they need, because that was when she threw out the word misogynist. That precise moment, that was when she threw it out there. But Wizard X in the building with the $5 super chat says Kyle bragged about having numerous affairs, including his fiance. Wow, he is a snake and hypocrite. He did say something about dating a lot of models and stuff like that. So I don't know if he, was married and or had a fiance and had affairs. I don't know nothing about all that, but he said a lot of stuff to where I know he agreed with Fresh and Fit, or agreed with Myron on a lot of what Myron was saying. But he had to he had to yield. He had to be the attack dog at the end. Shout out to Wizard X back in here with another one. He says radio host Kyle Sandilands reveals he once had 7 workplace affairs going on all at the same time, and one of them was his fiance. Daily Mail. Okay, wow. See, I take people for what they're saying. I take the words that are coming out of their mouth, and I analyze the words that are coming out of their mouth. I normally don't dig into their personal life, because I always say you're not right or wrong based off your personal life, even though I know some people do take that approach. Some people do take that approach of looking at whether or not your personal life lines up with what you're saying. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I tend to take what you're saying strictly on the merit. Does it make sense or not? Is it in line with the data? Is it not? Is it factual? Is it not? Is it logical? Is it logical or not? That's how I tend to look at it. So I came in not even caring about that man's personal life, but damn, that's something right there. So that furthermore says that he's sympathetic towards Myron's Myron's position. But yeah, what other takeaways did you have from that, Obsidian?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Myron, I've had a chance to quietly observe him, and you're right. You made an assessment previous to this show before that Myron is very well read and well versed on, for lack of a better way of putting it, red pill literature. Okay. And I agree. Based on my observation of him, he clearly understands the lay of the land in that respect. So his exchange here, which almost certain to make the social media rounds, you really have to wonder, with someone like himself that knows the literature so well, why would he engage in kind of shock jock type of behavior instead of just merely just reading the record and say, and let her, like you said with Jordan Peterson, let the other side kind of freak out and chimp out and all that, and you just coolly just read the record, and that's that. And I think that is one of the big takeaways for those of us on this side of the mic, so to speak. If you're going to engage in these kind of like culture warrior type of battles, I guess you could say, perhaps the best way to go about it is just to merely read the grid, and that's just it. It's a listen, nothing personal. This is just what the studies say, and if you have a problem with that, I invite you to go and see so and so, because it is a matter of perceptions. And if the argument is that you want to make a dent, if the argument is that you want to kind of win the argument, then yeah, those type of things do matter. And that's the reason why I really like you referencing Dr. Peterson. One reason why it's so, and they have come after Dr. Peterson. You know this, Bernard. They being the left, they being the opponents of, I guess you could say, men broadly, the manosphere, if you will. And you could debate whether or not Peterson is part of it, but it's clear that they being the other side interpret him as such. I've actually read articles about him where he's interpreted as being part and parcel of the manosphere. So it's interesting how he handles things. And everybody can see all these interviews that I'm talking about right here on YouTube, GQ, Kathy Young, etc. et al., where he just calmly, lays out the facts and lets the other side kind of, self-destruct. And as a matter of fact, if I may be so bold, I kind of did that to Nicole Young back in what's that, January? Well, we did it last year, but it was published back in January, our actual recorded interview. And as a matter of fact, I wasn't even bringing up stuff. She was bringing up stuff. For example, the Moynihan report, and I merely, corrected her on the facts with regard to that. So I think one of the big takeaways here is for those of us on this side of the microphone to be very mindful of how we engage, because as you rightly pointed out, when Myron hit that tripwire with the F word, that's when things really, kind of took a turn for the worse, instead of just, sticking to, the facts.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. I don't necessarily want to over focus on just, one slight mistake. It's a small mistake that could turn big, but it's still small to me. But it was a mistake. I understand, like somebody pointed out in the chat room, he don't care, and I get him having that he don't care attitude. His audience is going to get a kick out of that. So yeah, I get it from that regard, and that's part of their stock and trade, part of their brand. But I wouldn't walk into somebody else's house, somebody else's, on somebody else's show. That's again on nationally syndicated radio, assuming they got the same FCC rules as us and all of that. Yeah, I wouldn't have did that. But I don't necessarily want to over focus on. I wouldn't want to necessarily over focus on him doing that, because, like I said, I think he did a really good job. I think he did a really good job. What do you think about the guy towards the end? after, if you listen to most of the show, you can see he was agreeing with them that he just out of nowhere just rage quit, as they call it in the gaming world.
Yeah,
Somebody is losing. Somebody is losing on a video game. They just yank it out. They just turn it off.
Yeah.
Just quit the game instantly. Yeah, what do you think about him rage quitting like that?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with the brother who posted the super chat earlier. I'm thinking the same thing as I'm sitting here watching and typing on my computer. And I'm saying, okay, so they leave and it's a 7-minute break. I'm giving to understand. A lot can happen on radio, and this is kind of like de facto radio, what you and I do. In radio land, 7 minutes is a long time. A lot can happen in 7 minutes. You can go do a bathroom break, and you can also get a stern talking to in the program director's office.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the same thing. That's possibly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Yeah. I think that's very probable. It's something he was concerned about. Either I said he got that Jada Pinkett side eye from one of the women.
Yeah.
From one of the women working in the studio, or one of the female co-hosts, production managers, or somebody said something, or who knows. Or he's worried about, some of them, they be worrying about having to answer to the wife at home. Who knows? But yeah, he got something. Something happened that caused him to just basically just rage quit like that. That is an interesting one.
It's unfortunate that on both sides, on both the Fresh and Fit side and their interviewers from Down Under on their side, it's unfortunate that it couldn't have been a more edifying conversation. Better questions could have been asked on both sides. More information could have been imparted on both sides. That's unfortunate. Because the whole thing got started with the premise that a man should not make a serious mate out of a woman that shows racy pictures on social media. Do I understand that right?
That wasn't exactly it, but I mean, it was connected to that. I wouldn't just say that's what the whole video was about. It was more so him saying something more along the lines of what Kevin Samuels has said, that that I think that the woman that he's with, she's going to have to delete her social media.
Right.
But then it did transition to, having the social media just no overtly sexy pics. But I do know Myron does say, yeah, she got to get rid of it.
Okay, so my putting Kevin Samuels aside for a moment, because he's not here to speak for himself. And Myron, we just heard his position. So my question to Myron, or any man who agrees with him, my question would be this. I don't have a problem, unlike the feminist, I'm talking about the woman in Australia. Unlike her, my issue wouldn't be the issue she stated. My question becomes, okay, Myron, why would you want to be with a woman who does that to begin with?
He said he wouldn't want to be with a woman who does that.
Okay. So then it's nothing to debate. There's nothing to debate. You're not seeking out women who post racy pictures on their Instagram. So there's nothing to debate.
Not exactly, because he started with the premise that she can't have an Instagram and she can't post sexy pictures. Now there's levels to sexy and racy and full blown twerking and gyrating your birth canal at a camera lens. That's a whole different thing. But he's basically saying that a woman essentially can advertise availability on Instagram. That's essentially what he's saying. If you're in a relationship,
I agree with that. I agree with him on that, and he is right. I mean, that there is evidence. I've been talking about this, and I'll be presenting this at the Mumia Obsidian Ali Experience, June 9th through the 11th here in Philly. All the information will be on the chat room crawl. Me and Bernard and the fellas are going to be there. Going to have a great time. The dark triad woman is a real thing. So I agree with Myron when he makes the case that there are what the colloquial term is thirst trapping. Okay. Yes, I agree with that. There is evidence, there's scientific evidence to bear him out on that. True. That being said, I have to again ask the question, why would you want to partner with a woman who exhibits dark triad traits? And you can itemize what they are. And one of them is, quote unquote, thirst trapping on social media. So my question becomes, for any man, why would you want to partner with a woman who does that to begin with?
Oh, you were asking me that question?
Yes.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Right.
I don't think nobody will. I mean, people hook up with chicks like that.
Like I see, to me, I understand where Myron is coming from with his argument. I guess my position is it's not an argument for me to make because I avoid women like that altogether.
Yeah, I just explained it. Yeah, it's more layers to it than that. But if you're talking about somebody that who's like literally going after an Instagram model whose stock and trade is doing, sexy or damn near explicit twerk videos on Instagram, like if that's her stock and trade, if that's what she do, and you going after her, then no, you're being stupid if you're trying to get with that chick and then get her to stop doing that thing that she makes her money off of, that she's getting. I mean, if the smart ones, they transition those followers on Instagram, they try to monetize them in some kind of way. That's her business. Like, that's not a woman that you're going to take serious, and I don't think he's taking women like that serious. I think that he said that if he gets married, which he said he will someday, he said he's going to go back to I forgot, where is he from? Y'all know in the chat, he's from I forgot where he's from. He's from somewhere. It's in Africa. So Obsidian, you probably remember. So let me know in the chat. Where is he from?
No, actually, I don't.
You good at remembering small. You good at remembering? Okay, Sudan. There he is, Sudan. Okay,
somewhere in Sudan.
So yeah, he said he's going to go back to Sudan and get a virgin, and that's who he's going to marry when he gets married. So no, he's not marrying a chick like that. It just was a general point, general principle that when you're if you're seeing a woman, she can't post pictures on Instagram, can't do things on Instagram that advertises availability. That's just a simple point that we all generally agree with. I think you're talking to the people that you're speaking to, they fall in this category. Okay. The guy who could actually pull the chick, I'm just going to the top of the top, the really sexy chick with a lot of followers on Instagram. The guys who actually got access to her, who could pull her, and they're also guys who equivalently live in that type of fast lane. And some of them get stupid or game goofy, and they try to get a relationship with chicks like that. But I think that's a rare guy. Like we talked about how they only see 5%. They only see a very small percentage of guys attractive. So that guy who's up there really high on the overall attractiveness scale, and I'm not just talking about looks. I'm talking about his whole package: looks, money, status, game, everything. The guy who's all the way up there on that attractiveness scale, who could actually pull that Instagram chick for real. Like that guy up there who could pull those Instagram chicks, but then try to get a relationship with them. Small percentage of guys that you have to tap on the shoulder, like, hey, you need not be trying to relationship that seriously. Then there's another group of guys who don't have access to that chick, but they're following and they're looking at her, and they would try to relationship with her if they ever got the chance. But that turns into a moot point because they don't got access to her. They don't got a chance to get with her at all. They're just a guy dropping comments and sending ignored DMs. So I don't think that ends up being an issue. Like the only issue there is I would tell guys that's kind of stupid. You just a regular dude just floating out the DM, putting your bid in the DM to a random Instagram model that got 500,000 followers. Like, that's just stupid. It's like that's a fool's errand. But but whatever. But I don't think it's an issue to the degree that you're saying. I like to believe, or I tend to believe, that a guy who's looking for the relationship, and maybe this is just me and how I think and how I operate, I know the difference between a woman. Okay, she's cute. I'm not even talking about a chick who's got a bunch of followers on Instagram. I know the difference between a woman who's, she's cute and got a nice body, and she's doing sexually suggestive stuff, not full-blown Instagram model stuff, but sexually suggestive stuff. But she got what I like. She got what I like going on there, versus a chick who's more conservative on her Instagram or on her Facebook or her whole public perception that she puts out there. But I'm looking at her and I can see, okay, she still got what I like too. She ain't advertising it the same, but I can see it's still there. And so that's my lane right there. And I think most guys who got their head on straight generally can think like that. They can understand that a chick who operates a certain way, carries herself a certain way. They come from the same gene pool. They got the same genetics. Like a small waist and wider hips don't only come on out of pocket chicks who like to expose themselves on Instagram. Like there's some conservatively dressed women who got hips and curves too. Like so that's where I'm at with it. And I like to think that most guys know how to think somewhere along those lines. At least I like to believe that, at least.
There was a point in the conversation where the question was whether or not men could do the same type of thirst trapping and by extension signal availability, even though they are putatively in a committed monogamous mateship. And the answer is obviously yes. The answer is yes. Matter of fact, there's been there was some good research I read. I can't cite chapter and verse right now, but I remember reading recently some pretty good research out of Northwestern University that talks about how social media is not causing cheating. But it is facilitating it, and that this is happening both male and female alike. Now in Black America, we know, according to the Institute for Family Studies, that Black men cheat more than everybody else in the country at 28%. But Black women also are the biggest cheaters of the country on the female side at 24%. I'm talking about married couples now, actual married couples. In my most recent book, the Book of Obsidian, the Ladies Edition, I devoted an entire chapter to how Black women cheat. And I give up all the data that bears out, just in general, Black women aside for a moment, just overall in general in the United States since the 1990s, I think female cheating has gone up some ridiculous number, like something like over 70% since the 1990s. And there have been numerous reasons given for that, but that's the numbers. Taking it back again, back to Black women in particular, the numbers of Black women cheating is like off the chain. So yeah, can men do this as well? The answer is yes. Now to go to the next point about whether or not men and women are the same in desirability, the famed OkCupid study, which I'm very familiar with, and so on. I think Myron kind of it was ironic because his argument was that men and women were not the same, yet he cited a study, OK Trends from OkCupid, using dating app data, which is heavily weighted to looks. And we know that for men, scientifically, looks is only one component of many criteria for men, whereas looks is part of like maybe 2 or 3 criteria for women. In other words, men, when they're assessing a mate, will assess her on much fewer points of criteria than women will assess a mate, you know, in the same way. They assess them on much more higher criteria. And as a matter of fact, this is what I was saying to you earlier, putting in the chat room. There are studies that have been done, since we're going to use dating apps. There have been studies that have been done, Tinder, Bumble. Bumble is very important for the obvious reason that the women are in control. They select for men who have higher education at a much higher rate than men who have lower education. So looks do matter, true, but education also matters. It matters a lot. And the dating app data bears this out.
Oh, right. Yeah. I was just thinking about what you were saying there. But no, it's definitely, see, when I have these discussions, I try not to pin it down too much on dating apps, even though that gives us data that is harder to get in the real world. But like you said, the data is more geared in a certain direction but they got the analytics. They can see, you know, they keep track of every swipe, every click, every comment, every message, every reply, so it can just get you just an insurmountable amount of data. So it is valuable to look at the dating apps. They do give you a lot, but like you pointed out, it's weighted more towards looks, you know, than
and literally a swipe. I mean, in the case of both Tinder and Bumble, they both have the same model: swipe right, swipe left. The only difference is that the woman, in the case of Bumble, is actually the one that has to make the first move, whether to swipe right, swipe left.
Yeah, I've said this before. I'll say it again. That I look at that as a gimmick. Even though I was when I was on Bumble was fairly new at the time that I was on Bumble, so maybe it's different now. But the women swiping first, to me, it came off as gimmicky, like you will swipe on a woman and then she swipe on you, so y'all match, but y'all can't communicate until she sends a message to you. That's how it works. So she sends that message to you, and that message is really the message that they accuse guys of doing, you know, just a simple, hey, how you doing? Just a little boring, dry message, basically to just unlock you, so now you can start talking to her. And then you basically have to lead the whole conversation like you normally would. So the thing that they were trying to induce, and that's women being more, you know, upfront and making the first move and asking the guy out and doing all. No, nature kicks in. Nature kicks in after the first message. It resorts back to nature, and the guy has to do all the work, all the heavy lifting, to get out the door. That's typically how it goes.
And that's exactly what happened with Bumble. I talked about this over on my channel. I don't know if you saw it, Bernard. There was a big story about Bumble. I think it was either late last year or early this year. They had reported a lot of women users on Bumble being very upset because, like I said, the way Bumble works, everybody knows this. In order for it to work, you as a man cannot make the first move. The woman has to make the first move. So like you said, she swipes right on you, okay. But they were very upset that the men that they swiped on didn't take it any further. They were very upset about that. And I kind of got a chuckle out of it, because it's like, okay, so not only do you want to be able to select the men that you want, that's fair. Okay.
It eliminates the right of refusal.
Right. But then you want the men that you select to want to select you back. And you didn't consider the possibility that the selection has to be mutual in order for it to work. You can't be one-sided.
Well, no, the man has selected her. If he swiped right on her, he selected. It's just that I think some men buy into the advertising that the woman is going to be the one making the move.
Right.
So the guys. So after she sends a message to unlock him, he sends back another message, and then he falls back to see if she's going to be, you know, doing what the app says they're supposed to do, and she's not doing it. So she's basically saying, hey, I sent a generic message to unlock you. Now, why aren't you chasing me like you normally do?
Exactly. And they're very upset about that. And I got a big kick out of it because, you know, we all know the talking points about, you know, the feminism piece. And so we're clear on this. Bumble does promote itself as the world's first feminist dating app. Now, I'm not lying. You can look it up. You can see it for yourself. The owner and founder, I can't remember her name right now, but the owner and founder, that is how they promote it. That is how they market it. So, yeah, I just found it a delicious irony there.
Yeah. Cold Black, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
right when I go
on,
to you, hold on, is that you? Yeah, that's you. You getting pulled over? You on the run from the law?
Nah, man. Just a ambulance going down the street. I'm outside on the porch, man.
Okay, yeah, it's probably best to be inside if you're on a show. But
okay,
but,
I'm in here.
But,
hey, what's going on?
Okay, it might be best for you to be outside. You went inside. I heard babies talking. Goddamn, can you go anywhere on earth where there's no sound?
I can't get no peace nowhere, man.
man. But
yeah, I wanted to address.
Oh yeah, what you got on this? Go ahead.
Like the basis of what Myron was coming to as far as the argument with the chick, they was having that quality versus quantity argument in a way. As far as like, and that's reflected too, as far as these supposed stats from the dating sites where women are choosing the quality over the quantity, obviously. Which is something that's probably, I mean, I ain't gonna say probably, but it's definitely built in, like it's built into the DNA, I think, as far as how we select, and, us being different from how they select. So like a man will get on there with shit. If it's a slow Tuesday and we trying to find something to, slide through or whatever, we'll swipe on a lot of shit, right? But women, they don't really have to, it's simps out here. There's a lot of different men out here where they don't really have to get on there like that and swipe without discretion, I say. So
yeah, most men get on there and just swipe indiscriminately, damn near, just to see who's swiping back. If you most men. Most men, if you're picky about who you're swiping on, you're not going to get that many matches. That's why for a lot of guys it's a waste of time, but men outnumber. Obsidian, what's the data on that? Men outnumber women on dating apps, isn't it? Like 2 to 1?
It's very significant worldwide, according to Global Web Index, if I remember right. Every dating because of course these dating apps are globals, but if you look at every area of the world, the Pacific Rim, North America, South America, the EU, every place, and not only that, but also age cohorts. So divided up by demographic age cohorts. No matter how you slice it, there are at least bare minimum twice as many guys as women, and it can go as high as 5-6 times. So yeah, pretty significant.
Do y'all kind of think like we might be in a like experimental type stage? Because I mean, social media is still fairly new. If you look like the overall history, overall existence of us. So like, if back then women had to kind of like take a chance on which guy, hypergamy, they had to kind of hedge their bets and kind of settle on the guy, or at least choose one and kind of get out of the casino in time. Well, shit. If now, what I'm saying, it's at the palm of the hand, it makes sense where you have a lot of women choosing to be single and also choosing the top.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, you ask a really good question. There have been a lot of studies done on the impact of social media on human behavior. So, like Jonathan Haidt, for example, he's done some really good research looking into how social media has impacted teenage girls. For example, suicide rates among teenage girls has gone up significantly as a result of cyberbullying and things like that. So that's one example to answer your question. Are we in an experimental stage? The answer is yes. Taking it back more specifically to the question of dating and mating as relates to the Fresh and Fit interview. Yes, the Fresh and Fit are right to point out that the OkCupid data, OK Trends, and so forth, and more recently, because that data is over a decade old, more recently, Twitter also has its own R&D arm, like OkCupid, and they found that the matters have gotten even worse. That so we talk about the 80-20 rule. Actually, and here I cite Joker of the Better Bachelor channel. He's talked about this. Rob K. Henderson out of Cambridge University, he did an interview with Dr. Jordan Peterson about this. On Tinder, women are gunning for like the top 5% or less of men. So more than a decade ago, OkCupid found that women were gunning for like the top 20% of men. Things have changed over that more than a decade to the point now that women are gunning for the top 5% or less of men. And the argument is that social media definitely plays a role in that. I mean, it severely disadvantages the vast majority of guys whose good traits as a mate do not easily transfer to a app like Tinder. I mean, how do you communicate? Well, first of all, how do you even communicate at all? All it is swipe right, swipe left. So it's literally looks based. This is the reason why the black pill guys, / incel, they're on to something with this, because if everything is so weighted to, a quick swipe and what you see in mere seconds, then yeah, the vast majority of guys are going to be knocked out. No doubt about it. So yeah, to answer the brother's question, social media does have a big role to play in this. And it's not very clear exactly what to do about it, because I can't remember her name. Haugen, Miss Haugen, the Facebook whistleblower, she brought knowledge to light that that Facebook / Instagram were very aware of how they do things have a deleterious effect on their users. They're very aware of that fact. But the economic and business model is such that there's a powerful, economic motive for them to keep doing what they do. So it's hard to see exactly what to do to mitigate against that.
Yeah, I'm at the point now, man, where you made a good point too. It's kind of like, okay, pre-social media age or whatever, you had higher marriage rates, you had more people having more opportunities, I can say, to nail it down, right? So now, I mean, if that's changed, and like you said, we really don't know where to go from here, but it's obvious that we're gonna have to do something different.
Yeah, a lot of people are holding out hope that Elon Musk can make a dent in it with his acquisition of Twitter. I have no idea. We'll see. But when it comes to Black Americans, it's very, very worrisome, because although both Black men and Black women heavily engaged in social media, nobody engages in it more than Black women do. So Black women are particularly susceptible to being manipulated through social media.
And why, y'all have any type of idea why you think that may be the case? Why they're more susceptible to it than other women?
Yeah, well, just in general, women in general are much more sensitive to social and cultural messaging than men are. That's a brain thing. That's the way their brains are wired. To help women make good mating choices, they rely on other people to help them, right? And the society at large. So cultural messaging happens a lot. And one of the main conduits of social and cultural messaging today is social media. Now, bringing it to Black women, why does it impact Black women more? I can't cite any specific studies as to why it's different with Black women versus everybody else. I just know the outcome. For whatever reason, Black women are much more tuned in to social media than other groups of women are.
Right. Because if you look at that and then you compare that with feminism, with them being more susceptible to feminism, I mean, you could kind of draw a parallel there. I mean, maybe correlation, not causation, but that's something I guess people should probably pay attention to.
Yeah, it's interesting. Feminism, that's a major concern in these parts. I'm looking at some data right now that dates back to it was published in the early 1980s. The lady who put it all together was doing it in the 70s. I'm looking at data right now that strongly suggests that the rise of feminism came as a result of a shortage of men. And I'm looking into that now. And I have to say that the research that I have right now is pretty it had to make me take a step back and rethink everything.
Right, because if I'm not mistaken, I know I remember seeing like a big ass decline in marriage and an increase in out of wedlock births right around late 60s when birth control was invented.
Yeah,
which is another beginning of an experiment, and you could draw a parallel with that being something introduced that's new to a society, the same way social media was introduced that's new to a society, and it could change the outcomes of what's going on.
Yeah, it's interesting. The birth control pill did it, no doubt, make a dent in how men and women relate to each other, no question. But the sex ratios, that is to say, the number of men versus the number of women, is something that we don't look at a lot. And studies have shown that when there are more women than men in a given location, so we're looking at Black America, for example, this has been a talking point that's been going on forever. Many Black women, largely Generation X and baby boomers, arguing that there are not enough eligible Black men to go around. As it turns out, they're right. They're not wrong to point that out. Black Demographics bears this out. BlackDemographics.com. It's different for the Black millennial cohort, but for the Generation X, it's undeniable. There are not enough desirable Black men to go around. It's true. And what the researchers have found is that when there are more women to desirable men, I know this is going to be kind of tough for a lot of guys to take. All guys aren't desirable. When there's more women to desirable men, marriages go down, committed relationships go down, courting and dating goes down, plunging necklines, the necklines of ladies' dresses and whatnot go down, hemlines go up, more red lipstick, more skin showing, more hooking up. That's what happens when you have more females to males. When you have more males.
So you're talking about women 41 to 55 who have not secured a husband, having lower, showing more cleavage and shorter dresses. I mean,
yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know it's interesting to say that and look at it right now in 2022, but we have to remember back through the 90s. So these ladies would have been in their 20s at that time. So
yeah, but in that
90s up to present.
But in that time, wouldn't their stats look more like how it looks similar to like in 18 to 34 right now, that the numbers that I got up, where you can see Black females to Black males, or we can look at it like that, Black males to like it. What I'm getting at is that that cohort, that Gen X cohort, and yes, there were problems with it, but when those women were younger, I don't see why it wouldn't be similar to the way it is now. If you look at 18 to 34, where it's almost 50-50, it doesn't start getting out of control until women start getting older. I know Black Demographics, they showed the chart to show that when it comes to single, because there are more married Black men than Black women. So when it comes to single,
it's actually more never married Black men than never married Black women.
There's more never married Black men than never married Black women.
Yeah, on Black Demographics, you can look it up on BlackDemographics.com.
Are they accounting for lifespan too?
Yes. The difference is about 4 points. I think 48% of Black women overall have never married versus 52% of Black men overall who have never married.
Yeah, that's interesting because there's more Black men currently married than Black women. Right. So, and people get married later. So when it comes to the people left dancing when the music stopped, yeah, it's going to be more Gen X, more single Gen X women left dancing left standing when the music stops. There's going to be more of them left standing, just for the simple fact that there's more married men in that cohort, and it is more women. It is more women in that cohort because, as you can see, when you look at the 35 to 64, that basically covers the Gen X. That women in that age cohort, women outnumber men. So yeah,
that's evident of like one of the most popular Mansfield talking points, as far as like women declining in value and men gaining in value. As you can, see that.
Yeah, that assumes that that's just it. That assumes that you are, gaining in value. And a big part of the problem, looking at Generation X for a minute, the big part of the problem was the crack wars, the drug wars, mass incarceration. Those were factors that we have to take into account. But what's often left out, and we're bringing that point to the conversation nowadays, meaning the Black manosphere, is that Black women themselves don't consider the role that their own sense of hypergamy plays in this. If you only focus on the way it works with women is to keep restricting the pool of men, right? So they go from the top 20%, right? 80-20 rule. Then they go to the top 10%. Now they're focusing on the top 1%, right? Guys who are really out on the edges of human accomplishment and endeavor, right? So that you keep restricting the pool, you know, and it's really hard to you really don't know what to do about that, because like I said, you start off with disparities in numbers with the Generation X cohort, the guys who, you know, and black women have been talking about this, you know, the guys who, you know, drug addicted in jail, got killed off, and so on and so forth. There is an empirical basis for that. But what they don't want to look at is the fact that even if you controlled for that, they still are gunning for an increasingly small percentage of men. Like I said, remember OkCupid, Tinder. Back over a decade ago, OkCupid studies showed that women were gunning for the top 20% of guys in looks. More than a decade later, Tinder reports that women are gunning for less than 5% of the top guys in looks. So we know that hypergamy is not static. It's something that's very dynamic. And what are the causal agents that are moving the needle with the hypergamy? I argue at least part of it, especially when it comes to black women, arguably the most influential cohort to date of black women when it comes to media, social media. That's what I think is really, really like.
I agree. Because I mean, like you said, it's the ease of access, and then when you got that combined with unchecked hypergamy, and also laws and different policies that facilitate unchecked hypergamy, it could just come down to a cocktail of things that you can see play out, and that's how we get where we at now.
Yeah, there's a real question here, Bernard, and you know, hypergamy has been talked about quite a bit on both sides of the manosphere, the white and the black side. I don't talk about it a whole heck of a lot, but I have to be honest here. There is a question of whether hypergamy can run amok, whether hypergamy can go out of control.
You saying that's a question?
Right? Yeah,
that's not a question.
Whether that's something that's
the answer has been in on that.
Right. So the question is, you know, can that happen? And if so, what are the causal agents? And I think I could be wrong, but I think I might have put my finger on one of them, which is social media. And so, you know, for a lot of black women for whom it pertains to, they have to really think about what they're taking in through their smartphone.
Because I ain't gonna lie, man.
Yeah, when it comes, hold on, real quick, brother. Yeah. When it comes to hypergamy, I sum it up as simple as this: the mere fact that, like I mentioned earlier, society is built in a way and structured in a way, or civilized to the point to where it's fairly easy for, you know, a woman to get a job making enough to get by in an air-conditioned cubicle, where and enough to, you know, to feed herself, pay her bills, and just get from one month to the next.
Right.
Back when that wasn't as readily available and easy. Okay, a man doing that was enough to scratch her hypergamous itch. Now that she can do that herself, because again, the world has been made easy by men. Now, when it comes to an interpersonal relationship, it's going to take more to scratch her hypergamous itch. And that's when it turns into a situation where only a smaller percentage of men can really, truly scratch that itch. Now, if a woman has her head on straight and she's thinking long term, she's thinking about the future, delayed gratification, outcomes of the children, and everything like that. She's not thinking like that. She's going to think more along the lines of, okay, I'm making $35K right now. I can function and get by on that. Here's a man who's making 45, 50K. We can put that together. That's 85K. We can live a comfortable middle-class lifestyle and probably work our way up a little bit. And that's the best outcome for the kids. The kids will be in a better situation. We know the outcomes of kids that live in two-parent households or that are middle class or close to middle class, or even if, you know, scraping the, I don't know where the upper middle starts at about 100,000.
Yeah.
If we get our kids in that situation, then our kids will have better outcomes. And if more people do that, that's better for the greater good. A woman with her head on straight will actually think like that. A woman who's just, you know, thinking about her own selfish needs and whims and this or that, she may be like, hey, I'm happy being single and free and trying to cash out on as many, not cash out may not be the right word. Then again, it might be on how many fun, good times I can. But if I find a guy who could, you know, scratch that hypergamous itch, you make enough money that to where, you know, I can, you know, get good times out of him, or even maybe build a life with him. But, you know, it's almost like the pot has to be sweetened, so to speak, now for some, not all, but for a not insignificant number of them. That's how they're thinking. Now, I think that's a foolish way to think, because we know the outcomes of that. We know if they're out there, if they staying single longer, they're likely to get pregnant. They like to be single, likely to be end up becoming single mothers. They're likely to do a bad job raising the kids. They're likely not to be able to, as Kevin Samuels broke down the data a bunch of different ways, they're likely not to be able to make it comfortably to the end of their life. So it's not
they
a
still
not a
likely to divorce the men they say they want.
That part is true too. That part is true. I wasn't even dealing with that one, but I was just saying that they, if they go that route where they're thinking that, hey, I can take care of myself, so I could be single and free, I can do some strategic singlehood and just live my life and be single and free and do what I want, then yeah, they can technically do that. The outcomes will be bad in the long run, but they can technically do that. So I think that's what's happened with hypergamy. It's just went from them being able to do the basics for themselves. So a man doing that is not as significant now, unless they got their head on straight and they're thinking long term and delayed gratification.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the basis of the initial contract. The initial contract was, what, I work and provide the resources, and you make sure the babies is mine, and you take care of the house. If you violate the contract, I mean, it only makes sense that it's not gonna work out. But another thing I was gonna say too, that you mentioned about the dating sites, I'd have been on like Tinder and Bumble and stuff, and it'd be some chicks that like swipe right on you, or like, you know what I'm saying? You be like, hold up, bitch, where you come from? You look like Jerome Bettis. Like, you know, they don't have an issue with going at men that they know is out their league.
Yeah, I spoke to that a lot of times. Chick sliding your DM, chances are she a chick that you don't want. I ain't that dude who about to screenshot some DM slides, but I know what you mean by that. Definitely.
Yeah, it's a very complex problem, because social media is a very important part of it, and I include dating apps in that. Social media, which is what the whole issue, which was at issue with Myron and Fresh with their interview earlier. That's a big part of it, and just trying to do something about that is going to be a heck of a job. But then there's the other problem too, which is a shortage of, you know, eligible men. Again, if we're looking at the numbers, it's hard to, you know, deny that. And then the other part of it, as Bernard rightly pointed out, you got women.
You say a shortage of eligible men. You're talking. Yeah, I don't know exactly what you mean by that. A shortage of eligible men. It sounds like you're talking.
I was just
about the. Oh, you're okay. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just about to go to your point, which is, okay, so if you have a glut of black women that are college educated, right, and they can earn their own money, like you said, you know, they're in the cubicle and so on and so forth. And studies have shown this. Women's hypergamy goes up as her own value goes up. In other words, she gets educated.
Hold on.
More than she wants.
Hold on. Wait a minute. You said her own value goes up. You mean her own income goes up?
Or perceived value.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's make sure we make it right. Make sure we get it right. Her hypergamy.
Well, I mean, if she didn't have value like that, then why would men with lesser money want to marry her then?
Well, her value goes up to a broke man. Like if a guy is,
right. So
if a guy is making minimum wage working at, I don't know, the gas station, right. Yeah, a woman who makes $45K in a cubicle somewhere Yeah, he has value to her.
Right.
He's
So it is
that woman
value.
doesn't. Yeah, she has value to.
Okay.
Yeah, but not value that matters to a man who's just doing average. I mean, well, I mean, I guess she does add some value to him, but again, I mean, I'm not going down that route where that's where they want to lead us. They want to lead us down that route to where thinking that they can, if they're not, dude, you got to mute up, Code Black. Okay, I'm not going down that route to where, let's just say, if they're overweight or they got kids by somebody else, they got these issues, they got a bad attitude, but I got a job, so that means I'm doing something, I can bring value to a relationship. No, that's not a deal that men should take. The only men that take that is the homosexuals. So their value is going up.
I'm not putting a value judgment on. I'm just looking at what the numbers say, and the numbers say to that cohort of men, yeah, they do bring value. The problem is what you said. For the men who matter, is that value? The answer is no. So again, what I'm saying is, you're right, and the studies bear you out. When women get more income and education, they want men who have even more than they do. This is worldwide. Worldwide. This is not just a Black American woman issue. This is everywhere on planet Earth. So your point is a good one, Bernard. In a lot of ways, a lot of these women are pricing themselves out of the market, to tell you the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that, to me, it starts there and it ends there. That's why I'm not going to shed a tear or concede a point if they're saying it's not enough eligible men. If they worked hard to put themselves in a position to where they're making 100K and the guy has to make 100K or more to get with them, but the guy who makes 100K is getting with women all across the spectrum, then yeah, they're going to be left. The Gen X 41 to 55-year-old women who didn't secure a marriage earlier, now they're getting older, now their eggs are drying up, they make good money, but the men that they want are dating all across the spectrum, and they're only dating that small percentage of men or they only really want a relationship that they can respect with that small percentage of men, but those men can have relationships they respect with the whole population of women. Then yeah, those women are going to be left dancing when the music stops. And I'm not shedding a tear or lighting a candle for them, for the 41 to 55-year-old women that make good money. I mean, that's good for them. They make good money, but if they, that's where I say shout out to Omega Dress. That's where I'm like, oh well, for them. But I think all the other women in the that's single Gen X and was making, because I saw the chart that's making that range. I think it showed a range of 20 to 50,000.
Right.
Then with another one from 50 to the 100, or the bottom of the 100.
That's right.
Those ones those ones are fine. Those ones are fine. I mean, provided that they can. I think those ones are okay. It's only that top percentage. There was like 130,000 of them that fell in the category of single Gen X women from 41 to 55 that make more than 100K. Those ones, yeah, those are casualties of the war. Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, here's the thing with that. Research has shown that this has implications beyond just the individual. In other words, it has societal implications. It has community implications. It has neighborhood implications. So as we just noted, the guys at the top of the food chain, they're less likely to marry because they don't have to. I mean, they're less likely to court and date. They don't have to. We see this on the matter of fact, there's a phenomenon called the golden penis syndrome. It was covered in New York Post, etc. on college campus.
Hold on, wait. Why are you saying they don't have to?
Well, because the men that are in most demand, when there's very few of them and a whole lot more of the women. So using the Generation X cohort from blackdemographic.com for a moment, there is less than 100,000 single Generation X brothers earning 100 grand or more.
Yeah, it was like 98,000.
Right.
Wasn't it like
less?
Okay.
Yeah, less than 100,000.
Yeah.
Versus at least 600,000 Generation X Black women that are single. So you basically have more than 6 to 1, right? And again, studies show that when you have that type of situation, marriages go down, courting goes down, hemlines go up, necklines plunge, more lipstick, more hooking up, and so on and so forth. And the issue with the research that I'm studying now is it bears out what are the societal effects of that.
But hold on, but there's $1 million question that it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like you're leaving out.
Okay.
The men who are in that age range, that 41 to 55 range, who are making over $100,000 a year, $100,000 or more, they're not necessarily checking for the women. I mean, some of them are, because there's plenty of men who are like 45 and they're good with a 40 to 45-year-old woman. That's a thing.
Right.
But a lot of them, they're checking for the women in early to mid 30s. So if a guy who's 41, the guy who's 41, he's going as low. I mean, like we talk a lot of junk in this space, like dudes be in their 40s regularly dating 21-year-olds. I mean, yeah, it's a thing. I'm not denying it's a thing, but typically, if a guy's around 41, 42, 43, making 100,000 a year, I think he's more so dating maybe late 20s, early 30s. Like that's what he's checking for. And if those women are feminine and in decent shape and don't got kids, like it's competition among those women. So those men, they are on the market for marriage. So that goes back to what I said. Those are essentially the leftover women that that cohort of Gen X. It doesn't matter if they outnumber, if the single ones left standing that are not married,
right?
Because it don't matter that they outnumber the men, and because those men, that's not the pool that they're looking for. If they wanted to play around in that pool only, then yeah, they wouldn't have to get married. They can get a harem of nearly 50-year-old women. Fine.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, Bernard.
Go ahead, Obsidian.
If you look at the black millennial cohort on blackdemographics.com and you compare them to the Black Generation X, you're 100% correct. Men who are, and Myron mentioned this, shout out to him. He mentioned this in his interview with the Australian radio jocks. Historically speaking, kings, sultans, etc., it was rare for them to get with women that were their age or close to it. They almost always got with women that were significantly younger. So we look at the blackdemographics.com data. We look at the single black millennials. If we look at the $20,000 to $50,000 range, 3 million black men and black women in that cohort, 25 to 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're more than 300,000 more women in that cohort. So if you compare it to the women that are doing, $100,000, right? That's like over twice as many. So your point is made. And we have evidence that unlike the Generation X sisters of this cohort, the black millennials, they're okay with sharing a brother. They're good with it. Many of them have reported already being in poly relationships with much older Generation X black men who are successful. Okay. So your point is very well made. These ladies, meaning the Generation X ladies for whom this applies, they're facing stiff competition. Stiff. Literally.
They haven't been married already, though. If we looking at the divorce statistics, if a woman made it to 41 to 50 something, I mean, chances are, especially how the law is set up, she not already secured long-term security from some man, whether she done married a man or had a baby by a man or something like that. So it makes sense that it's more of them that's single around that time versus the men that's of eligible marriage and age around that time. That's what I'm saying, that's financially stable. That makes sense because I mean a lot of them already secured that type of security. You know what I'm saying? They already got it.
Actually, the number of divorced black women is only slightly higher, like a point or two higher than the national average for women overall. There are more divorced black women than black men, but not by a large margin. Like I said, the number of never married black men to never married black women is the difference is only 4 points. So yes, you're technically right, but the numbers aren't as wide as we might believe. The vast majority of these ladies are single, never married. Now, you wanted to go into the
all right. Hold on, really quick.
Who have kids? That's another question.
Yeah, real quick. I'm looking at the data. I pulled it up. I'm seeing the millennial generation that is age 25 to 40.
Right.
It's more black men making over one. It's like 10,000 more black men making 100K or up. It's pretty close to the same. A difference of like 12,000 from 50K to 100,000.
Right.
When you're talking 50K to 100,000 is just like a 10,000 or 12,000. Oh no, there it is right there. 12,000 more. There's 12,000 more women who fall in that category. And then we're talking. So there isn't a disparity or lack right there when you're talking from 50,000 to 100K.
Right.
Or no, 50,000, basically 50,000 and up. When we're talking about 50,000 and up, there's no disparity. Now, when it comes when you get in that that 20K to 50K range, that's where there's a higher concentration of women in that range. But again, go back to how I said, those women are also in position to compete just as much for the 50K to 100K or the 100K and up, and the Generation X 50K to 100K and 100K and up. So yeah, I'm looking at it. The only people that I see really hurting in this, looking at this data, the only ones that I see hurting is the Gen X women, the single Gen X women, not just Gen X women in general, but just the single Gen X women from that's 41 to 55, who make over 100K, and they're demanding that a man has to make 100K
and not only that, and must be only faithful to her.
Yeah, though that is the only cohort that got a problem.
Oh yeah,
and like I said, oh well. I'm sorry, I'm not shedding a tear or lighting a candle or conceding none of their arguments.
Well, it's not about shedding tears. It's about considering what are the societal implications of that.
No,
right.
but
why would you shed a tear for a man who went in the casino and lost all his money?
Like, well, no, hold on. Wait. There, I don't see there being any societal implications, because if you just take those ones off the table, if you take those women off the table, everybody else can still do normal, functional, orderly, societal stuff together in terms of interpersonal relationships. It's just that one group that got a problem.
Well,
so 100, put it like this: 130,000 women between the age of 41 to 55 to make 100K not being able to secure a man on a level. I don't think that's a societal problem.
Actually, it is if you look at the chart. If you look at the whole chart here, Generation X, at no point, well, the only point that men do better than women on this chart is in the no income territory. But other than that, it was just ironic. But other than that, at no point do the men do better than the women in this cohort.
No, okay. Wait, hold on. Wait, time out. This is very important, because one thing I always point out on my show, that black men still make more money than black women. Is just within that cohort, women outnumber men by 600,000. So statistically, there's more of them in every category. So we're not talking. I hated that it was written. I think it was written in a way where it said they were outpacing men. Outpacing implies the same number. I heard somebody else, but either way it goes. Outpacing implies the same number of people, an even number of people, but that group of people are still producing more people that's making 100,000 or 50,000. That would be outpacing. So they're not outpacing; they're outnumbering. So it's worthwhile to point that out. That just because a lot of I saw some women kind of running a mile with this data.
Right.
But yeah. So
yeah, well, that was the whole impetus for me to get involved, because like you, I too had saw black women kind of. Let's just be honest here. They're very upset at Kevin. Kevin frequently refers to blackdemographics.com. And the argument was that Kevin was cherry picking the data. In other words, he was only looking at the things that look favorable to men and make black women look bad. And why aren't they talking about these numbers? This is what black men need to be focused on. So I said, okay, we'll do that. So me and Miss Brown Sugar, we've been, delving into all different angles of this. And the numbers are what they are. We concede that. There are more black women at every point here that out earn black men in total numbers, right?
For Generation X.
Yes. For
single,
that's correct.
Single and not married.
Yes.
Because
not married.
hold on.
Yes.
Well, hold on. Here's the interesting part.
Yes.
Men who make more money tend to get married.
That's
so
correct.
It is looking at the data where the best of the men are pulled out of that data.
True.
And it's what's left of the men in the data.
Correct.
And seeing that, so they
probably don't make it.
So that's a cherry pick on their part, damn near.
That's a fair
they're
point.
basically saying they failed to secure one of those men before when they had a chance. Like I think Jason Black be the one always saying that last train is leaving and you didn't hop on it.
So he makes a fair point there.
Yeah.
If that's Jason Black's argument, he would be right, because you're right. The best men have already been taken off. You know, we can debate the extreme tail, 100K and up. We put them aside because they're very small. But everybody else here, you know, they've already been taken off the market in terms of marriage, and we have records to bear that out. So we know from data that women that out earn men, one, have a much higher rate of divorce or breakup. Two, that they fake it in the bedroom more at a rate of twice the rate than women who don't. That's a fact. It's a fact. Yeah, it's a fact. And number three, that their lesser earning, lesser socially status guy is much more likely to cheat on them. These are facts. Studies have been done on this, borne all three out. More likely to divorce and break up, more likely to fake it in the bedroom, more likely to get cheated on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the data says with regard to these numbers right here. So yeah, you're right. Black women for whom it applies, they're in a heck of a pickle. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, shit. It just sounds like to me, shit. Hypergamy is a gamble. So if you got some women that's losing, okay, cool. Just like our mating strategy is a gamble. If you got a motherfucker out here slanging his wood everywhere else, and he get certain consequences, sometimes that can come with on the irresponsible part. It's kind of like if you have irresponsible hypergamy and then you got irresponsible man. I mean, it's no question you're gonna have bad results on either end. The difference is one is punished and the other is kind of backed and facilitated.
All right, a story to tell in the building. Like I said, support that brother. He's been dropping content lately. Make sure you support that brother. He says Obsidian is correct. I asked a few women, would she rather have 100% of an average man or 50% of a great man? What do you think they answered? Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. But yeah. Oh man, we just hit that 3 hour mark. So let's go ahead and get ready to pack this on in. I appreciate everybody who's in attendance today. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, super chatting, cash apping, whatever you did to support the stream in any way, shape, or form. I greatly appreciate it. And with that said, we are out of here. Peace.
Thank you.
We are